Sure.
All right. Yeah, we're good, I think. So, are we live? Good. All right.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We are.
Well, hello. Good
Hello.
evening, and welcome to Darksphere, where we're going to be
Yes.
playing some Legacy tonight. Round one, we have Stephen Tang, who is a player from Melbourne, visiting on Miracles, playing our local Australian, as it were, Charlie Bridger, who'll be on the Goblins tonight.
It's going to be an all-Australian mirror
An all-Australian mirror.
Yeah.
My name is Jamie Hardy. I'm joined in the booth by
Claude
Schmidt. How are you doing tonight, Claude?
I'm very well.
Excited
Yourself?
to watch some Legacy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Good.
How would I ever not be excited to watch Legacy?
I think...
And especially having the boys in round one.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it's something of a Darksphere special, really, isn't it, the boys?
So the players are just getting ready.
Yeah, they're just resolving their mulligans.
Trying to figure out who's going first. Yeah. So tell me, Jamie, is this going to be recurring, this whole stream thing?
The stream?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
I think we're planning to do it next week as well, aren't we? Although, unfortunately, we won't be in the booth next week. I don't think.
No.
It'll be our resident Miracles expert, Francis Cowper, and Mudman, Tom Kellogg.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Tom Kellogg is taking over.
Also known as Library at Pendrell Vale.
That is true.
So, yeah, I've given the go-ahead for them to start whenever they're ready, so we should be getting underway fairly soon.
Well, people are drawing their opening hands. Miracles.
Okay.
I haven't seen many lands. I saw one.
I saw a counterbalance. I saw a force.
That is true.
Not particularly useful cards against goblins.
No, but it is useful to have a force against
to force the
vial.
Force the vial, yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, I heard the legends say that sometimes they don't have Cavern of Souls, but
they always have Cavern of Souls.
That is true.
If you're playing Miracles against them, they always have Cavern of Souls.
Yeah, so it looks like Stephen is keeping and Charlie is taking a mulligan. He wasn't happy with what he got. Also, worth saying, Charlie is sporting an amazing-looking playmat.
London Eternal. Yeah. This is quite the grudge match, really. London Eternal versus the Salt Mine.
Yeah, that's true.
Sort of a love-hate relationship there, perhaps.
Well, we don't know. I mean, Charlie moved away from Australia. There must have been a reason. So
I don't think Stephen was the reason. So you're the resident Miracles expert between the two of us, I'd say.
I have picked up the deck, yes.
And I have never played Goblins. Have you ever played Goblins?
I played Charlie's Goblins once.
Okay. Did it go well?
Oh, let's just not talk about my relationship with the boys. I think that
Charlie's keeping and we're underway.
On the way,
Stephen leading with Scalding Tarn. He's got the turn one Lackey.
Yeah, I expect
that'll either get counted or sourced, right?
Just to force this, because especially if it doesn't have a force of will, if it doesn't have a swords to slashes in it. Yeah, and also a good idea to get rid of those counter spells because they're probably not going to be too useful.
He didn't have the Cavern.
What?
Incredible.
That is incredible.
This is a first for Charlie Bridger, I think.
All right.
Not having the Cavern
twice.
Just slamming the counterbalance.
The life totals are unfortunately not updated. Did you take it upon yourself to let the players know?
I did.
If not,
I did.
Then we'll just remind them after game.
We can probably keep track of the life totals as best we can.
Yeah.
Although I don't think we can update them from here, can we?
No, we can't.
Okay, we'll give live updates on the life totals. Stephen's currently at 18 live. Yes. Charlie at 20.
There we go. Seems like there was not a 1 on top. That's a bit unfortunate
so double
for
vial. Because Goblins is favoured in this matchup.
Oh, yes.
It's conventional wisdom.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's quite difficult to deal with Goblin Matron into
the card you can't remember the name of.
Exactly that one.
Goblin Ringleader?
Exactly, Ringleader, where you just draw 4 cards.
Yeah,
and
it's a very grindy deck. Goblins.
No, absolutely. You can get ahead if you get a Jace online and nothing's on the board, but it's not as easy to do.
Yeah, very resilient to counter magic. You can see the Cavern coming down there and the 2 vials in play, which negates half the Miracles deck.
Absolutely,
pretty
especially
much.
game 1. I mean, you have so many dead cards
Yeah.
in your deck, especially after turn 1. That
Yeah.
Force of Will is probably just going to sit in Steven's hand and not
Till he
doing
brainstorms it away.
all that much. Yes, absolutely. Both vials sticking up to 2, and the Echo was actually paid on
Interesting.
that 1-1.
Charlie perhaps not having much going on in hand, although I can see a matron.
So currently Steven not doing very much.
He's just missed the land drop as well, I think.
Yeah, I think he just hasn't got a lot of cantrips in his hand, which
it's pretty unlucky for the Miracles deck.
Absolutely, yeah, running somewhere from 8 to 12 cantrips.
That looks like a second cavern that Charlie's just drawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the chief problems from the Miracles player's perspective: Cavern of Souls and Aether Vial negating like the counter magic, and then the removal essentially being exhausted by the endless stream of goblins.
Absolutely. I mean, you can get them with a good Terminus, Terminus into Entreaty Angels, which we can see in Steven's hand. That can win you games.
Right.
I mean, it's actually good for Steven that he's drawn it this early, the Entreaty Angels, that is.
But he does need a way to get it back on top of it.
Exactly. If he does find Brainstorm,
Yeah.
which, hopefully after a couple of ponders, if he has time for that. Although he is down to 10 life, so this is not the best situation to be in.
Yeah, that pile driver is hurts.
That hurts, especially not being able to just flash a Snapcaster Mage in and block it.
Not a staple of all Goblins lists.
No, but I think this is an
anti-Miracles list.
This is an anti-Miracles concession, because Charlie is playing a Dark Sphere where Miracles is currently running wild.
Yeah. Across London.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we see here Snapcaster Mage coming back end of turn to flashback that Predict and drawing 2 cards.
Did he hit a blind island there?
I almost think so, because
I don't think he's cast any cantrips recently.
No.
Well played by Stephen Tang there.
Or we've missed it. That's
nice
the
altered ponder there. Got the what is that? A nest ball, normal Pokeball, and a Safari ball, maybe? I can't remember. My Pokemon knowledge is
seeing here Stephen Tang snap shuffling away that Force of Will. I couldn't quite see what the other cards were, but definitely
he didn't like them.
Definitely
probably not lands, I guess.
No. Or Terminus, I guess.
But
he does have a Brainstorm in hand now.
Yeah,
so
draws another ponder off the ponder, it looked like.
Very good. So there is...
Keep looking for those lands. So you can get a decent entreat in.
Yeah.
He's not liking what he sees. No. Absolutely not.
Also, this counterbalance at the moment probably just here to watch the Goblins trample over Steven.
And he will be dead next turn, depending on the line that Charlie goes for here.
Yeah.
He can matron for a chieftain or something like that.
I mean, there is the Swords to Plashes.
Okay. Okay, so we can get rid of that pile driver.
Draw. And he has a land. So there is another turn to come here, unless Charlie has good threes to violin at the end of turn. Well, there's a matron.
Yeah.
This is...
he can get one of the lords here if he wants to try and go for a quick win. Or he probably get the ringleader here, though, right? Because they're afraid of Terminus, maybe.
Well, he got the Incinerator.
Incinerator, okay. Looking for a Tarfire.
Definitely.
Well, no, the Incinerator will be getting rid of that Snapcaster Mage.
Yes, so that takes away a blocker. But that's really only one creature that he gets through.
And Snapcaster can't block the pile driver anyway.
Yeah, exactly, which is the most important one.
An interesting line.
Yeah, Charlie did want to keep all of his creatures.
And he's got a ringleader in hand, looks like.
And now he has a Pyrokinesis as well, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I expect that pile driver meeting Swords to Plashes.
A main deck Pyrokinesis?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Charlie is well aware that Elves is a deck that is being played here at Dark Sphere. Yeah. But that is actually one of those very few spells that Steven could Force of Will.
Yeah.
Which is worth noting.
Bearing in mind, yeah. Steven responding to the trigger there so that Charlie only gains 1 life from the swords rather than
Right.
Literally millions.
Absolutely.
Steven's down to 4.
Yeah, down to 4, but this is, as I think, Charlie's end of turn, so he will be able to put Terminus back on top of his library, and then
follow up with Entreat. And as you said before, that's how you win this matchup.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, hoping to get just a moment of respite. Now the problem is that Charlie has 2 Aether Vials, as is always the problem with the boys. And we have the chat here as well. Goblin hype is definitely real.
Aston expressing his love for the boys, sir.
Yeah.
I think, I think this game probably would have been quite different if that counterbalance had revealed a 1 those many turns ago.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's see what we have.
Go for the
Entreat. For the Entreat first. Could potentially be a risky line, but I think he's just too afraid of those 2 Aether Vials. I mean, he's at 4 life. Charlie is going to have something to put into play, so I don't blame him to do
to get 3 blockers out.
To get 3 blockers out, absolutely.
Here comes the ringleader.
Yep.
Reading a matron.
A matron, yes.
And that's it.
That's it's probably the worst ringleader that Charlie has ever experienced, but be that as it may.
I know, I've seen some pretty bad ringleaders.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Mountain, lackey.
No, this is true. It doesn't look very good for Miracles at the moment, but yeah, we'll see.
What's he going to get with this matron, do you think?
I would have said a Lord, because currently Steven is only on 3 blockers, which is probably going to block his 3 biggest creatures, but with the Lord, especially it having haste, this should be it. But which one was it? Goblin Chieftain. I believe it does have haste.
I always get confused between the War Chief and the Chieftain. I don't think I'm the only one.
Well, unfortunately, we can't read the name, but
I think it's +1 and haste.
Yeah, it seems like it has haste.
Because one of them is +1/+1, and one of them is cost reduction, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't remember which way around they are.
The cost reduction also gives haste to all the other.
Yeah, they both give haste.
But it looks like Charlie Bridger and his goblins took game 1.
Game 1 to the boys. So players will be sideboarding now. So matchup changes a little bit after sideboard, just because the Miracles deck has more answers to those problems you mentioned in game 1, the Aether Vials.
Yes,
and can have a more proactive game plan as well, because it looks like Steven's bringing in mentors here.
Oh yes, I would expect him to bring in the mentors.
Yeah.
And side out some of those counter spells that really don't do much. I think you still want some of the Force of Wills. I could see him keeping
he's
a
cut 2,
few.
He's cutting 2, I think.
Because, as I was saying, it's quite good having Force of Will for the turn 1 vial, or as was the case in the first game for the turn 1 lackey, if it's not of a Cavern of Souls. Obviously, in game 2, Charlie, knowing he's up against Miracles, he's going to be more likely to look for that Cavern of Souls in his opening hand. But as we've mentioned before, Goblins always has it.
Goblins always has it. And didn't even need it in the first game.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But yeah, looks like it was an engineered explosives and a disenchant that Steven's bringing in to help deal with those vials, and of course explosives will mop up a lot of the goblins as well.
Now, in terms of what the goblins are bringing in, a bit more tricky, because neither of us have really got much experience with the goblins.
And Charlie does like to include some slightly strange things in his goblin sideboards.
That is true, yeah.
Often.
Yeah. There's the prowl creature that I've seen, although he's not playing black.
He's not playing black tonight.
And we have Aston in the chat saying War Chief is the
War Chief is cost reduction.
Cost reduction,
okay,
thank you.
Thank you, Google.
Although Aston being a Goblins fan as well, so
I've only
we
ever
can
seen
probably
him
trust him.
I've only ever seen him play not the little red men, but the little white men, Death and Taxes.
Yeah. That deck. Yeah.
With Gideon, Champion of Justice.
Oh yes,
yeah.
It's an excellent card.
That's his contribution to that deck.
Yeah.
So there'll be some number of Red Blast effects coming in, surely.
Yeah.
Does Goblins playing? Does Goblins play Pyroblast? Must do, surely.
Yeah. I would assume so.
To deal with those Jaces and those other blue spells.
and those other blue spells. I mean, I hear blue spells can be good.
But again, we're just saying that
but we'll see.
The Miracles deck sides out quite a lot of its blue spells.
Yeah, true. Definitely post sideboard or indeed pre-sideboard. The white spells are definitely the ones that you're looking
to watch out for. I've seen Charlie play Flash Fires before in his sideboard, but I'm not sure that comes in the Miracles matchup. It's more for the Death and Taxes matchup, I think.
I mean, certainly the Land Disruption package from Goblins is quite good, right?
Right, the Ports in the Wastelands, yeah.
The Ports in the Wastelands. We didn't see any of them game one, but
Richardson Port very powerful against Miracles because of its dearth of white sources.
Oh yeah, and once you've wasted away some of the Tundras, and then you go ahead to port the plains, it can become very difficult to actually get a Terminus in. I mean, you'd think that a 1-mana Wrath of God is quite good, but if you can't cast it...
Or a 1-mana Hallowed Burial, perhaps.
That
okay, we're underway with game 2. Stephen on the play. It's fetching probably a basic island, playing a Portent.
Good. Yeah, Portent is really what you want to be playing turn 1, especially if you're looking for those extra lands, as you're not drawing that card immediately.
And Portent, of course, the rise of Portent has been well documented in recent months, since the top ban.
Yeah.
Changing the face of the deck, although in many ways not changing the deck that much. But there have been many words written and spoken about Miracles by players we know.
Yeah.
On that subject.
Yeah.
So probably best not to talk about it.
Just bring it up and then slowly let the topic
because
die
I know
away.
that we'll be corrected by numerous
yes. Especially after the event when people go back and tell us what we
so that was a term on Vile, right? It's being forced.
Yeah.
So again, those 2 forces that he kept in, proving useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the planes for that Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah.
So definitely Snapcaster Mage plus Swords to Plowshares is a good combination to beat Goblins.
Who's this?
So this is the guy that lets you sacrifice a Goblin to make mana.
Okay.
Not too important in this matchup, I would say.
Charlie obviously considers it useful.
But if you don't want to put your Goblins back on the bottom of your library,
you can put them in your graveyard instead.
You can put them in your graveyard instead. So that is absolutely true. And seeing here already, those basics paying off. I mean, Charlie has a Wasteland.
He's got a Wasteland. It's not going to be very useful.
But the alternative effect of Wasteland is you can tap it for 1 colorless mana. So
being put to that
here
use,
it is. Yes, absolutely.
Aston says that the what is it, Goblin Miner or something like that? I can't remember, but it lets you power out a big Banefire.
Yeah,
Skirstag Prospector. Skirk Prospector.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. He can also
so that's the
choose to sack
his
Echo guy to get another token end of turn.
That's value.
Well, it isn't affected by Summoning Sickness if you do it that way. So
well, it is. But
yes, but it uses it. Thank you very much, Jamie, for clarifying
well,
that.
you know, it's important to be factually accurate in these broadcasts. We don't want to be...
Absolutely.
There might be new players watching,
you know. We don't want to misrepresent anything here. Absolutely not.
Yeah, Banefire, I'm not sure. I mean, knowing Charlie, he probably does have Banefire in his deck. Would certainly be good in this matchup because it's uncounterable.
Yes.
But we'll just have to see what secrets the boys have in store.
Absolutely. So here, Stephen fetching up a second island, especially in the face of that Wasteland. You don't want to make yourself weak to it.
I think we can safely say that Stephen's not going to fall for that one.
That's a good point. Goblin Lackey 1, and that Prospector combos with Sharpshooter to help clear Mentors.
Okay.
And as we've seen during the sideboard, Stephen did bring in the Mentors. I mean, you want to be proactive.
Yeah.
So
Sharpshooter being the pinger that
untaps
when a creature dies. Yeah.
To the graveyard, yes.
Okay.
Hiya, Animug host. And
Animu Ghost.
Yes, I totally said that right. Good. So
Got
again,
the boys coming in.
the echo being paid and the boys coming in. Yeah, I mean this matchup, as we've said before, is very, very grindy. And here we finally see the Cavern of Souls doing what it does best, making things uncounterable.
Shut down all of that counter magic. But Stephen already down to 13, which is not irrelevant.
Well, that was lucky.
Wow.
Yeah, so all the boys.
So that terminus that would have been put on top of Stephen's library by his ponder last turn.
Yes, I would assume so.
And this is, this is why Charlie might be holding back goblins in his hand. You know,
especially on the
playing around those ball clears.
Yeah, especially on the draw. I think Goblins wants to be very aware of a terminus happening in the first 3-4 turns.
So end step Tarfire there, just nug you for 2. Charlie's got another one in his hand.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, this is the goal of Goblins, right? They want to put your life total down to 0 before their life total is
like a lot of
zero.
decks, not all decks,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
Like a lot of decks in Legacy and in Magic, the objective of the deck is to reduce the opponent's life total to 0.
Yeah. But
so
we do have other decks here tonight whose goal may not be that.
Maybe other win conditions.
We'll see about that.
Yes. So predict there from Stephen.
Yep.
And again, just the power of the deck, knowing what's on top of your library, having cards that synergize with knowing what's on top of your library. And yeah, these two decks both extremely good at grinding out a game.
And here another very good draw from Stephen. Engineered Explosives.
Although no vials in play.
Yeah, no vials in play. If only he hadn't forced that vial, then he could use his his explosives. But I don't think he'll
The
be
explosives
too
very
devastated
useful
about that.
against the large amount of goblin tokens that the goblin deck can create.
Although at the moment, most of those tokens, I believe, have been put on the bottom of the library. So.
Yes. Okay,
all right,
so
let's see if
ringleader.
this ringleader is better than the
Sting
one
Scourger,
before.
Lackey, and Pile Driver. That's pretty good.
So that's pretty good. That's about what you can expect from Charlie, who is renowned from...
you sound almost slightly bitter.
There may have been a top deck ringleader last week, but we're not going to talk about that. All right, Snapcaster coming in probably just for the block on the 2-2. And a Brainstorm from the graveyard.
I can see Ruben in the chat, one of the Magic players from Guernsey, who you will not know because you're not from Guernsey, but I am.
This is true.
And just like to say hello to Ruben from Guernsey. I did make a post on the Guernsey Magic group saying that there was a stream tonight. So.
Well, welcome to all Guernsey folk.
And all Luxembourgeois, you know.
I didn't actually put anything on the Luxembourgish Magic the Gathering page, but in hindsight, maybe I should have.
Represent.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Quite an international stream tonight, I suppose. Got 2 Australians on camera.
Yeah.
Luxembourgeois and.
I like the way how French you pronounce my name. Say it one more time in French.
And Guernsey in the booth.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, they seem to have organised a viewing.
Yes.
Maybe public viewing at the local pub. on the big screen.
Interesting, Guernsey actually holds the world record for the closest distance between a church and a pub.
Oh. Is it inside the church?
No, it's about a metre from corner to corner. So,
very nice.
We should probably talk about the game more. But
this is a good idea. So let us come back to the game.
Things are sort of progressing as they do in this matchup, with
both
players being
a vial
fairly conservative. Yeah,
so there's now a vial, so the explosives may hit the table here, but we'll see. End of turn, we had the Brainstorm, which probably drew 3 cards and put 2 back on top of the library.
Yes.
I would assume so.
So there is the explosives for one, to take care of that vial.
Yeah. Obviously, there's no need to activate it immediately because the vial is just going up to 1.
Just going up to 1.
The worst he could do
Charlie
is
can put that lackey in.
Yes.
He can put that lackey in, that's fine.
That is true. But this is not looking terrible for Stephen. He has double Sorcerer Plashes in hand. He has a good amount of lands in play.
Yeah.
So if he can find and entreat the Angels, well...
This game could be over very soon.
Absolutely.
That is the game, really.
Yeah.
Often in this matchup where you're just looking for the entreat before the Goblin stack overruns you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in Charlie's hand, we saw the big baddie.
The big baddie.
The big baddie.
And which of the big baddies in the Goblin stack would that be?
The one on his right, and I'm terrible with names.
Oh, Siege Gang Commander.
Siege Gang Commander.
Siege Gang Commander.
Exactly.
5 mana 2/2. Sounds useless.
It doesn't come alone.
Doesn't come alone.
It doesn't come alone.
It comes with 3 friends.
Absolutely.
And it comes with the ability to
do.
throw those friends at creatures or players.
Yeah. But it seems like he's going for the pile driver here.
Okay.
Sensible choice as he's playing against a blue deck.
Protection from blue always one of those funny ones because there is very little blue removal.
Yeah, but it is very good against Jace the Mind Sculptor not being able to block to bounce it.
Yeah.
But then again, most creatures in the Goblin stack are very good against that.
Against the bounce, yeah.
Because you don't really want to bounce Matron or Ringleader or Siege Gang Commander. Or, yeah, I mean,
the list goes on. The list goes on.
The list goes on, absolutely.
Here comes a Snapcaster to block the Matron, although it'll get tar-fired here, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen already down to 8.
I mean, this is putting Stephen under pressure.
Yeah.
Charlie is basically saying, well, you have to find a terminus.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to let you easily trade your cards in your hand for all of my goblins.
Yeah.
I want to, at all times, at least have one goblin in play.
Not just slamming Siege Gang Commander into whatever, just
absolutely
applying a small amount of pressure consistently to squeeze.
Maybe a Lord here and there.
Yeah.
And
he's kept up those wastelands because Stephen has both of his planes in play, so he can't fetch for any tundras with those wastelands up.
And especially, you know, this could be important for an end of turn. Play a Brainstorm, put back an Entreaty Angels.
So there's a Tundra.
That sort of stuff.
I wonder if that will survive the turn. Probably, because Charlie wants to be able to cast a Siege Gang at some point.
Yeah. So that vial is ticking up
to 2, and Stephen's going to think here about whether he wants to blow up the vial before it can start vialing in nasties that won't get burned up by explosives. I think he's going to go for it,
Yeah, it's certainly sensible. Although I probably tap that Tundra.
You're always a little bit sad when your explosives 1-for-1s, though.
Yeah,
you usually have higher hopes for that card.
Absolutely, especially because you're bringing it.
And Charlie's just drawn another vial.
Oh yeah, but I mean, this is going to tick up to 2 in 2 turns.
Yeah,
2 turns time.
No, it's bought time.
It's bought a lot of time, which is good against goblins. But here's what I was saying earlier. That Matron is just going to swing in.
And here comes the commander.
Away. Yeah.
Charlie says, "Show me the terminus."
Those sorts of splashes not looking the best in Stephen's hand, because the goblin tokens are still going to be there.
Yeah, and Stephen getting really quite low now at 7 life.
Absolutely. I mean, he basically can't let Charlie untap with all of those creatures in play. We see a sort of splashes here.
Yeah.
Looks like he didn't get lucky with the predict.
Just drew 1 card. Looked like a disenchant to me. Which,
certainly a white card.
If he survives long enough to be relevant, will be useful against the...
I mean, he's not dead here. He would be dead to a Lord.
Yeah.
But he knows...
There's a terminus.
Oh, there is a terminus. Well, that's excellent. As it will be coming off the predict. The problem is that if you saw the other cards that Stephen put back...
They're not very useful.
They're not very useful.
But he has fetch lands in play.
Oh, this is true. Yes, I forgot. Good. So
Miracles
I would expect...
doing what it does best.
Yeah, I would expect Stephen here to crack a fetch.
It was a force and something else, right?
Yes, yes. And that force at this stage definitely not
what you want
at its best, because the vial is so minimal now. I believe Stephen knows about the Sting Scourger.
We've been accused of BBC bias.
Oh.
The anti-goblin bias.
Oh, the anti-goblin.
Well,
I admit it.
I won't.
I admit it.
I won't admit it. I will say that I have not played goblins. I have played miracles. I enjoy miracles. It's good fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I will also say that goblins does not need any help from us. It's been decimating the Dark Sphere scene for weeks now.
I mean, this is because Miracles is so popular here.
In a way, they're both the big bads.
Yeah,
of
that's
the,
true. Although,
of the scene.
yeah, I'm just not very comfortable with people playing mountains in Legacy unless it's in a certain deck.
Which
A certain deck.
in a certain deck.
A certain storm deck.
In a certain storm deck. Okay.
Yeah.
A deck that plays exclusively mountains.
No.
No?
It also plays Ancient Tombs.
It plays Ancient Tombs.
Very important for the turn 1
Yeah.
Ruby Medallion and so forth. Yeah,
Callum is
so,
just biased to the side he plays. Well, I mean, Callum's not commentating at the
No,
moment.
no.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
I wouldn't want to sit next to him in the
No.
booth because he smells.
Oh. This is now on the internet. You can never take that back.
That means it's true. If it's on the internet, it's true.
Ah, right.
So,
So
yeah,
I read that on the internet.
It looks like Steven's shuffled away those cards as you suspected
Yeah.
he might.
Absolutely. He also ploughed that Lord.
Yeah, and he's
again.
now empty-handed,
Yes.
which is not a fantastic place to be in
No,
Miracles.
but he drew a Brainstorm and there is a Jace.
There is a chase.
I believe that this game is not quite over yet.
That's good. This is what we like to see.
Especially knowing that Charlie played basically his entire hand last turn. There's probably not coming too much, so bouncing that Stink Scourger is quite a good idea here.
There's a lackey, and the Sting Scourger's back.
Yes.
And there's the Terminus.
There's the Terminus. Now,
So that brainstorm
Steven
was
definitely
that brainstorm was insane because
yes.
it was Jace the Mind Sculptor, Terminus, and Supreme Verdict.
Oh,
Supreme Verdict,
yeah.
an interesting one to keep in because, I mean, it's a Wrath. You need the Wraths, right?
Yeah.
But it's sorcery
And
speed. It's so slow.
And we've seen here now Stephen looking at Entreaty Angels.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh,
And a Mentor.
excuse me.
Oh
a
no,
Mentor.
it
Yes.
was a Mentor instead.
Aha.
Ah, a Wasteland on
On the
Furthest
fetch
Land.
land.
Do you let this go through if you're Steven? I mean, obviously we didn't see
Well,
exactly what was on top. He's got a
Yes,
Supreme
so
Verdict.
there's definitely a Supreme Verdict, which after you played
A
Monastery
Mentor,
Mentor
probably
may
not
not
that
be
useful.
the best
But he wants
idea.
it.
He does want. I suspect him having put the Supreme Verdict second from the top. But let's not forget, there is a Jason play.
There is a Jason.
So which order he puts those two cards back really doesn't matter all that much.
Yeah.
But Stephen definitely in the driver's seat now.
Yeah.
Having
It's turned
loads
the
of
corner,
mana.
as it were.
And
Oh,
right,
it
I
was.
did see the
Okay, well,
Entreaty
this
Angels,
is-
okay. So this is now
Overkill.
definitely over. Stephen making 4 angels.
And
here,
yeah, this is the thing.
triggering the Mentor.
Steven didn't look great at any point in this game, but now suddenly, a good brainstorm, 2 Terminuses,
Yeah. I mean that is why.
Termini, even.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is definitely why Brainstorm is just the best card.
Yeah, and there's a
in
concession from
Legacy.
Charlie, so that's
Yes.
1 each to our players.
Yes, 1 each to our players. We'll get
But
the
Charlie will
score
be on the
updated.
play in game 3. So, yeah, as I
Good.
say, interesting game because
Yeah.
it was.
It is interesting to
Charlie
see
looked favoured
Yeah,
for most of that game, I think.
absolutely, and the scoreline says that as well.
The life
It
totals,
is-
so
yeah,
important in
the-
Legacy.
the 6 to 25,
Yeah.
and yet Stephen took the game.
Yeah. And Jace the Mind Sculptor's just, I mean, if you're going to have 1 card left in your hand as a Miracles player.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah. I have to say that I have been guilty of top decking Jace the Mind Sculptor in a top deck war,
Yeah.
and
It went well for you.
It did, yeah. Surprisingly.
It's funny how that card,
Yes. I mean,
kind of does everything.
ever since they printed Library of Alexandria, people knew that drawing 2 cards a turn is quite good.
When did they print Library of Alexandria? Is that an alpha card?
No. It's Arabian
Arabian
Nights.
Nights.
Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely Middle Eastern.
I think people knew that drawing cards was pretty good in alpha as well.
Which cards are you thinking of there specifically?
I'm thinking of the boon cycle. I
Oh,
think.
right. Yes. You mean Giant Growth
Yeah.
and the like.
Yeah.
Healing Solve
Yeah.
comes to mind as well, yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So, our players adjusting.
Yeah.
play draw?
Couple of different sideboarding decisions here. Can we sneak a look at Charlie's sideboard? What's he got in there?
Well,
What goodies has he got in
he's
there?
bringing in a Surgical.
That's pretty controversial.
Controversial as Surgical is as a card. But from Charlie's perspective, it's not that controversial.
No.
If he hits Terminus, that
Yeah.
card is gone.
Yeah. And it
he-
complete changes the way he plays the game. once the
Absolutely,
Terminus
he
is
can
gone.
just overextend. He doesn't know that Stephen plays a Supreme Verdict,
Right.
which is not usual with the rest of the London Miracles players. But
Right.
this is a bit of an Australian advantage that Stephen brings in here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, who has the best playmat? This is a very easy question to answer. Jamie, will you take this this question?
Well, I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Aesthetic theory is
Although-
an extremely complex subject.
Yes, you are right in saying that. However, in this case, there is a clear winner. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, one of the mats has the card that won the game in the last
Absolutely.
game.
However, on the wrong side.
Should we ask them to swap, do you think?
Yeah, probably. Probably for the next match.
Maybe
we,
whoever
have to
loses
do
can
that.
take the salt mine mat.
Are you insinuating that our special guest from Down Under is might be losing this game?
No, I'm just saying that, you know, a salt mine is what most Magic players resemble if they lose an important match.
Absolutely.
On camera as well,
So-
you know, rub-ins.
Lots of lands, I believe, in Stephen's hand. A Jace, a Citrus Canter, a new addition to the Miracles deck.
An
Definitely-
extremely powerful addition to the deck.
Absolutely, yes. Having played myself with that card
Yeah.
recently, it's just an incredible feeling to get that card online. It does so many things in the deck.
Mostly drawing cards.
Mostly drawing cards, as we've discussed already.
But yeah, I always like it when new cards come out that sort of slot into
Yeah.
existing decks, because you get this process of experimentation going on with the first couple of weeks. You have people saying it's been totally overrated, people saying it's totally underrated, some
Yeah.
people rave about the cards, some people hate it.
Absolutely.
And then eventually people just realize that eventually it either goes away or people just realize that it's actually incredibly
Yeah,
good in the deck. And that's
absolutely.
definitely happened with Citrus Counter.
Yeah.
It's completely changed the full color matchup, for sure.
Absolutely. Just you have another Jace the Mind Sculptor in the
Essentially,
deck
yeah.
against 4 color.
And once it's flipped, unless you happen to be playing a full color variant that plays Wastelands,
Oh yes.
which I believe you've done at some point.
Yes. I mean, this was
You have
just
very
for fun.
yeah.
you know.
You have very few answers to the flipped as counter.
Yeah.
And it's
true.
extremely powerful effect in this deck.
Still, Stephen electing not to play it on turn 2, rather wait for turn 3.
It's
I
not at its
believe.
best in this matchup, I don't think.
No, especially staring at that wasteland on the other side of the board. But the filtering effect is still quite good.
Yes.
You know, you get to dig to that terminus,
Yeah.
which is so important in this matchup.
So it's coming down now. There's a cavern in play for Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie
Charlie electing not to pay the echo, I believe, for the first time in
the
this
first time.
this game.
Whoop.
4-drop coming down. A ringleader.
Ringleader.
Let's see how the ringleader treats
Mog
Charlie.
Fanatic.
No, that's
Fantastic.
absolutely fantastic. Mog Fanatic is quite good. It takes out a Snapcaster Mage that is on blocking duty. So
Is that
know,
what it's for?
it must be. I mean, what else? What else do you think?
I don't know.
It's for.
Maybe Charlie thinks damage still goes on the stack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Animu Ghost says thoughts on Turbo Depths.
Excuse me.
Animu Ghost says thoughts on Turbo Depths. What do you think of Turbo Depths?
What do
Gord?
I think of Turbo Devs? Let me.
You're a fan
Turn
of it in
that-
draft, I think.
This is true.
In Cube Draft.
In Cube Draft,
Yeah.
absolutely. But let me turn this question around. Does that deck play Brainstorm?
No.
Now, this
Although,
this
I
is a
have
problem.
seen, I think one of the London monthlies a while ago, someone was actually playing like a Bug Depth variant that played,
Oh,
I think
yes,
it played like
yes.
Leovold and Brainstorm and Baleful Strix but with the Depths combo.
Right. Do you remember who that was?
No.
No. Well,
Well,
on the return of the London Legacy monthlies, which hopefully
Will be soon.
at some point,
Mm.
we will see more about that.
Yeah. Answers on a postcard. If you know who played that deck. It did pretty well, I think.
Yes,
But
I
the
think it
general
top
Turbo
eighted,
Depths is the
absolutely.
black green shell with the
Yeah.
with the crop rotations.
I mean,
and
it's a powerful deck. It's very streamlined.
very cheap on Magic Online, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
When I was thinking of buying into Legacy of Magic Online, it was
Oh,
one of
right.
the decks I
Yeah.
considered because it's quite cheap
Yeah.
and quite good. It's extremely good against Delver, I think.
Yes. I mean, Delver has a hard time dealing with a 2020 indestructible flyer. I would say.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, if they get an early Delver in. The thing is, Wasteland is still reasonably good against the card Dark Depths.
But that's why it plays main deck Pithing Needle.
True.
Just for wasteland.
Yeah. I mean, but this is it, right? It's an extremely streamlined combo deck.
Very strong.
It doesn't f around, if I may say. It just goes for that.
This is a
crop
PG
rotation.
stream, God.
Absolutely.
Here comes the Terminus, and so
away go to
Charlie's
goblins.
initial
Everyone's
wave.
happy.
Initial wave will go away. Stephen's life total fairly healthy at this point, 17.
Yeah, 17. This is where Stephen wants to be.
A second cavern for Charlie, though. That is important.
Yes, especially given that Charlie has resolved multiple ringleaders. And
A grip full of goblins.
Just has got a grip full of goblins,
And
absolutely.
I spy that surgical extraction in Charlie's hand.
There we go. And he does it in response to the fetch.
So you don't get a double shuffle, which is...
That too, but also in case Stephen brought in something strange, like a Flusterstorm or something like that, he just doesn't want this to get countered at all.
No. So this is pretty big.
Yes, absolutely. And definitely Charlie's sideboard paying out for him here.
Yeah. Although you mentioned earlier that Charlie doesn't know that Stephen's playing a Supreme Verdict.
Yes.
So we could see a reversal of fortunes here if Charlie decides that now he's free to put everything into play.
Absolutely.
And Stephen draws that Supreme Verdict. Although he has just looked through his deck, so perhaps not.
He's done it rather quick, so we'll have to see.
Not
how
always
he
the
plays
most
this game.
meticulous player, Charlie Bridger.
Charlie, yeah. I mean, he plays the goblins. He plays them on the table, and away they go.
He knows what to do.
Into the face of his opponent.
Yeah, we can assume he should know that there is a Supreme Verdict, and of course he saw the explosives thus.
Yes,
game, so
absolutely.
That's not a card you want to overextend into. Either.
Yes, definitely.
Cardboard crackling. I believe that nobody is playing Dredge tonight, unfortunately. If I'd been playing, I might have been playing Dredge.
Oh,
because I have cracked out Dredge a couple of times in this.
I haven't played it yet, but it is a sweet deck to play. I played it yesterday evening, actually, but the modern version.
The modern version,
slightly less.
The modern version is
still,
actually.
still good.
I know this is very heinous to say on a Legacy stream, but the modern version is actually more interesting than the Legacy version.
Yep.
I think Callum would agree with me.
Okay.
Because he's
Fair
played
enough.
both.
Yeah, I haven't played the Legacy version. The modern version
has more play to it.
Definitely has play to it.
Yeah.
So many different lines.
I don't know who you are, Klitz J, but shout out to Klitz J.
Yes.
Whoever you are.
We are very happy to accommodate all wishes from our streamers.
I think you might be right,
here
actually.
We go.
Oh, there's the J.
Here we go.
I'm literally just talking to Cardboard Crackling about Dredge now. This is now a Dredge stream.
I am sorry. Let us come back to the actual game at hand.
Sure.
There is a Jason
Sculpture
resolved on an empty board.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on that? Is that good?
It's usually pretty good. It's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
It's like when they say...
especially at a life total of 16, I mean...
Yeah.
This is, a high life total for the Miracles.
But again,
player.
no Terminus. So how are you going to deal with a flood of goblins?
To Plowshares and Snapcaster Mages. I mean, he did have 2 in hand, I believe.
Okay.
And two of each, that is.
So he is looking pretty good.
So he is looking good, but again, never underestimate that ringleader or that matron.
Never underestimate
for
the boys.
Ringleader. No.
Many a player has fallen foul of the boys.
Very grindy game, absolutely. Do we have thoughts on Jeskai Leo Loam Belcher?
No. I have no thoughts on that deck.
You didn't even ask me.
Do you have any thoughts on Jeskai Leo Loam Belcher? Other than
I believe this is an amazing deck name. And I hope someone builds it and sends me a copy of the
names
deck
are fun.
Absolutely.
Aren't they?
Yeah, like the boys.
Yeah, so...
Good, so let's come back to the game.
Oh no, I still want to talk about Dredge.
Yes, please, go ahead. I mean, there's nothing interesting going on,
so
right? Just the boys doing boys things.
Well, there's a Mog Fanatic. That's pretty interesting.
Yes,
it's gonna.
And here, Jace going down.
Okay, so that is what the Mog Fanatic's for. It's to make Tarfire lethal against the Jace.
Amongst other things, absolutely.
That's pretty good. That's pretty clutch.
Yes, so... This is a Dredge stream now. The game at hand is irrelevant. This is an opinion that may not be shared by everyone, but maybe
Search for Ascanta kind of dredges. I don't think you know what the word dredge means, Aston.
No, Aston is new to the game. We'll have to talk to him about
Hello, Francesca. And hello, Matt. Matt
hello.
James.
Hello, all people from all places.
This is a hello stream now.
Absolutely. Right, so we have a pile driver in play.
Yep.
Stephen
Brainstorming.
looking for that source of plashes, which has now entered his hand, which is quite good. Also worth noting that Socialist Canter has not flipped.
No,
I mean,
because
obviously there is a wasteland in play.
But yes, that can be an interesting point to play in the Miracles deck is when you flip your
wasteland.
search.
Yeah.
Depending on if you're playing against a deck that has both Replicate and Wasteland, it can be quite a difficult decision.
Absolutely. However, in this matchup, not too difficult. He might, if he has a lot of lands in play and there's nothing on the board,
there's the swords.
We might see him flip it for a single activation.
Are we going to see Snapcaster Beats get there in this game, do you think?
To get there, I don't think so.
Okay.
But to stand in as a blocker, absolutely.
Oh, no, never mind.
Never mind. This game has officially been called.
Pretty much. There isn't much.
Doesn't entreat the Angels.
There isn't much that can be done here, I don't think. A last-ditch Starfire.
Yeah. But 3 Angels entering the battlefield, making this a 2-turn clock.
Do you sound like a stew, Claude?
I probably do. But yeah.
What sound does a stew make?
It's not a stew. It's one of the stews from the Legacy Breakfast podcast, I would assume.
See, I'm not a big podcast guy.
All right. I do enjoy my I do enjoy my podcasts. But yeah. Thoughts of Brainstorm, Ponder, Mono Blue card.
I think we can safely ignore that question.
Get the stews in on the stream. Well, we can ask if they're preparing food in the background, because now I'm changing what the word stew means here, and I'm getting hungry.
Good to know.
Good to know. Good to know. Back to the game at hand, which
it's
is
not going to be. Yeah.
There's
the Krenko. Thanks for showing us the Krenko, Charlie.
Charlie, always good about.
Does he have any outs?
Stephen could have a heart attack.
It's not a very nice thing to say, Claude.
I mean this in the nicest way possible.
I mean, all that salt, it's not good for your. It's not good for your cholesterol.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Those are two different things, aren't they?
Yes, they are. But I didn't. I wasn't listening.
It gives you salt gives you high blood pressure.
Absolutely.
It gives you angina, I think. It's the medical name.
Right.
So yeah, short of I think angina being Charlie's only out here.
Yeah, especially as we see the Source of Plashes taking out the Krenko.
Yep.
Although, giving Charlie an extra turn.
Ah, there you go. A possible misplay.
I would say no. But
that's a strong draw.
There we go. Still a 2-turn clock. But 1 angel less to contend with.
But if Stephen plays a Jace, bounces the Sting Scourger, comes back in.
Yeah, it could go badly for him.
Yeah.
Let's see if he makes that play.
Angels coming in.
Angels coming in. But looking at that hand of Stephen Tang,
which he's just dropped on the floor. He doesn't like it very much. He threw it on the ground.
But there were 2 Snapcaster Mages with at least 1 Source of Plashes still in the graveyard.
Doesn't pay the echo. And there's
the concession.
2-1 to Stephen Tang there.
Yes, Miracles taking it down in a matchup that is not easy for Miracles, especially after having the Terminuses, or Termini as it were, taken out by the Surgical Extraction.
So Stephen proving the stronger of the 2 Australians.
Yes, yes.
In that Australian mirror.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can continue his run.
His run, yeah.
Maybe,
make a deep run
maybe
while he's
facing another Goblin stack down the road. I mean, Goblins is very well.
Are you telling me, Claude, that there is more than 1 Goblin stack at Darksphere tonight?
There is more than 1 Goblin deck.
Is that representative of the Legacy meta as a whole?
Well,
worldwide.
Worldwide, hopefully not. From my perspective, as a
anti-Goblin bias. He's at it again.
I'm sorry. They're playing 1-mana 1/1s. Come on. Yeah, no, but yeah, Goblins definitely strong in London.
Yeah,
and
but
strong.
not prevailing over Miracles there, despite
No.
this positive matchup. But
Yes.
you know, it's legacy.
Yeah,
Things go either way all the time, don't they?
absolutely.
Right, I think we're going to take a quick break before round 2.
Absolutely.
And then we'll be back with you. See you in a bit. Hello, we're back.
Hello,
for
we're
round
back.
2.
Absolutely.
So, Claude, despite the fact that
Oh,
our names are the wrong way around, we can fix that. We have the technology.
Yes, we have the technology.
What is our next matchup?
It's an interesting one.
Really?
Absolutely.
Are we going to see something new? Are we going to see something new and exciting?
Yes, we see something very new.
Really?
We see goblins.
Black-red goblins.
Goblins. Again.
The black splash is going to change the game hugely.
Yes, so we see Ethan Richards on his goblins.
Another famous goblin player.
Goblins against Miguel Murillo.
Yep.
On 4-color control. So
staple of the format.
Yes, absolutely. And this is going to be a slightly different, it's going to be more of a mid-range.
Yeah.
I guess the last one was mid-range as well.
Well, the thing is, there are quite a lot of relevant cards in that matchup.
Yes.
Whereas in this matchup, I feel like most of the cards are relevant.
Absolutely. I mean, all the cards in Miguel's deck do something, which you wouldn't necessarily been able to say about
Miracles deck.
The Miracles deck game 1.
So,
absolutely.
Should we go over to the table?
We can go to the table
where our players are drawing their opening hands, it looks like, and they're starting. Cool.
Just started.
So we have a turn 1 vial from Ethan.
Yes. This Miguel would have liked to force this, but obviously drawing the force.
Good
on
beats.
Turn 2.
Good beats.
Yes. I mean, this is what happens, right? You always draw the card that you needed last turn on the next turn. So let me just pull up chat again so we can see how our friends
a vial opening. A vial opening, as Francis says.
Oh yes, it is a vial opening. Deathrite versus Lackey. Yes, so this is why I don't like goblins, because this can happen. And now,
but I mean,
now all your 1/1s
Deathrite's
don't do anything.
Deathrite's one of those cards that you only see very occasionally. So
in Legacy,
it's not a huge
or are
problem.
you talking about Modern? Because in Modern you don't see it very much. I agree, but in Legacy you can run into Deathrite.
Is it popular?
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, absolutely.
Clearly, I've been
living under a rock, apparently, Jamie. Under a rock.
No, yes, of course. Deathrite Shaman.
But here, a second.
Do you think you should be banned, Deathrite Shaman?
I am not.
You're not willing to commit to a political position.
No,
on stream.
I just don't think that it should be banned.
No.
I mean, it's not too powerful for the format. It's not too.
So he's got this force for the second vial. So consolation prize.
Yeah, there. Although the first vial being in play already.
Yes.
Not
the first vial is the most important.
I would expect fetching a underground sea here and him to Turaking.
Do you Thoughtseize first, or do you him to Turak first?
Ooh, the age-old question.
Miguel's going for the Thougeize.
Yeah. I think you him to Turak first, and then you.
Interesting. And why is that, Claude?
This is because you have two chances. Sorry, if they're interesting. I don't know.
So you just
I just made a commitment.
You made a commitment.
Commitment to a statement,
and then I
immediately
I expanded on, hoping to get some in-depth analysis for our viewers, which you're unable to provide. For the record, I don't know whether you Thoughtseize or him first. I think my inclination would be to Thoughtseize first, because then you can hit lands with the him. But that's quite a simplistic
this is true.
view of discard.
Yeah.
Hello, Andy.
Hello. Andy. Let's quickly move on from me being unable to answer the question which one you should do first.
Well, we can, luckily, in this situation, we can rely on the expertise of our players. Miguel's decided to go for the Thoughtseize first.
Yes.
So that's going to... He's having a hard time there, because this is quite a difficult Thoughtseize,
Yeah, absolutely.
Which card is that? That's a...
So
that's a war chief, right?
That's the war chief.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's
a chieftain
and a ringleader in hand.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I probably would have taken the ringleader.
I would have taken the ringleader. However, it is worth saying that Ethan doesn't have the fourth land yet.
No.
But then again, you're kind of hoping that your opponent is drawing lands if they're playing goblins, because if they're not drawing lands, they're drawing goblins, and that's definitely not what you want to see.
So chat seems to think that him first is better.
Yeah.
So you were right, because chat's always right.
Yes, Of course. I told you. Come on.
Yeah. And Francis says it lets you choose the best of the remaining cards.
Yeah.
Well, that was, that seems like reasonable logic.
That was my
Those English words
inkling,
make sense in a sentence. So
yeah, that was my inkling, but then
I threw you.
you threw me. Absolutely. I get thrown very easily. But here's him taking the land. So
There
he
you go.
gets the
And the ringleader.
and the ringleader, arguably the best card in that hand. So
Things
Miguel
working out well.
definitely not being unhappy about this.
And Ethan can't do anything.
No, I
Just
believe he drew a black card. Not entirely sure what it was.
I think it was. I think it was
a
actually.
second him to Turok from Miguel.
Oh, that's going to be.
I think
very
he's
good
just going to play that.
because that vial's only on 2, right?
Yes.
Oh dear.
And there we go. Oh no, it wasn't a black card.
It was
wrong. It was a matron. Goblin matron. Yeah, this is a spot that 4-color control wants to be in. They want to have their opponents on no cards, them having a brainstorm in hand and a death ride in play.
Do all 4-color variants play him main deck?
I think the stock lists play 2 in the main and 2 in the sideboard, but this may have changed since I last picked up the deck.
Since you last sleeved up those wastelands.
My last version of 4-color control did not contain any wastelands.
Okay. No. So yeah, the hidden top deck being extremely useful there.
Absolutely.
And
Basically leaving Ethan with nothing.
he's at Miguel's mercy. Miguel needs to find a decent clock. Death Ride, of course,
Death Ride being a
decent clock, but he can do better, I think.
He can do better. Also having a Force of Will, quite useful, and now
Command is very good here.
This is just nasty.
Yeah.
I believe you just wait until end of turn, see if Ethan taps that vial, and then you could destroy the vial and let him discard his card.
There you go.
Because this way he only gets a 1/1.
So Miguel's gone for it main phase there.
Yeah. I think if he had waited until end of turn, he would have had a good chance.
And then respond to the activation.
Putting in something with the vial. And if not, you can still do it on upkeep, because then you know that Ethan doesn't have a 3-drop in hand, or most likely doesn't have a 3-drop in hand.
And here comes the ringleader. This is an extremely powerful draw for Ethan here. This could get him right back into the game.
And worth noting, he didn't need to force land because he had the War Chief in play. Yeah, I think if Miguel just waited until end of turn, then he wouldn't be in the spot.
There's a force on the ringleader.
Yes,
so he's saved.
This is true. So
both players empty-handed, I believe.
It would have been better for Miguel having that brainstorm and that Force of Will in hand.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So, top deck war.
Yeah.
There's a Death Rite in play and a
mystery card. And a mystery card
Miguel
in hand
draws,
for
says
both
go.
players now. Ooh.
There's a Mog War Marshal.
Mog War Marshal bringing in the beats. And that being a 1/1 that doesn't do anything.
Because of Death Rite Shaman. Although he's sneaking in the damages here.
Yeah, he is.
Looks like Miguel electing not to block.
They don't have Mountain Walk or anything. So I'm not entirely sure why he didn't block there. And they also don't get +1/+1.
No.
Well,
are you sure they're not getting +1/+1? Yes, because of the cost reduction.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, it's cost reduction or
cost reduction and haste. Yeah. But there's another Colligan's Command.
That's good here.
It lets Miguel
discard and draw.
Discard a draw and destroy the War Chief.
Yeah.
And hopefully block. And we get confirmation from the chat that there's no +1/+1.
Well, chat knows best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As anyone knows.
It's nice having the third official.
Yes. So.
Not paying the echo.
Not paying the echo. So that's on upkeep. So you want to wait, Miguel.
Just making sure he knows exactly what the cards are doing.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of players just assume they know how cards work and they don't bother reading cards.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with reading your opponent's cards.
It's always good to read cards.
Just so you know exactly what's going on.
During the draw step. Wouldn't surprise me if Ethan drew an instant.
Ooh, just because you think he's lucky?
No. This has nothing to do with Ethan. Goblins.
Okay,
because they always draw the right card.
It's true, Francis. People shouldn't feel embarrassed about reading their opponent's cards. It's what good players do.
Although I've never seen you do it.
That's why.
Interesting.
Okay, so Ethan down to 11.
Yes, electing not to attack here as the Deathratch Shaman was on blocking duty. So maybe just missed the block last turn. This can happen. Now two
Perhaps
cards
feeling
in
the
hand.
pressure of playing on camera.
Feeling the pressure of playing
which none
on
of us
camera.
are used to.
Yes. But there we go.
That is a pretty
on
good draw,
the,
actually.
Deathratch Shaman.
Could get forced here.
Trying to get some more beats in. Yeah, let's see what Miguel is electing to do about this.
Although, of course, if you force it, then you get the beats in anyway. But
yes.
I think I would force you.
Yeah, especially because it's a 2-power. Did I just say poo?
It's a PG stream. It's a 2-1, right?
It's a 2-1, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-1.
Yes. So, yes, Francis. Yeah. So it's a 2-1.
What is
so
that
Miguel,
black card in Ethan's hand?
So this is the Prowl Goblin.
The Prowl
I
Goblin.
think
that you don't know the name of. The chat will know the name.
Yeah, chat will know it. Yeah.
Goblin
so
Lucky One.
It's a 2-2. So this is why I would expect Miguel to force this, because he can't block it with his Deathright.
But of course, if he does force it, he'll go to 7 from the fetch.
There we go. Earwig Squad.
Earwig Squad.
Yes.
And he'll go to 5 from the attack.
It doesn't have haste.
No.
So Miguel would go to.
So what is
6
Earwig
here.
Squad? It has
It has Prowl, and when it comes into play, you can search your opponent's deck for, I believe, 3 cards
and
exile them. Yes,
so
so
it's
it's
an anti-combo.
Good against combo. Yeah.
How many rogues does the Goblin's deck play?
Do you mean the stock lists or the local lists? Because numbers may vary.
Numbers may vary.
They may vary.
Be wary, numbers vary.
In your local game store.
Yeah. Jester's Cap on a 5/3. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a limited number of players to which the term Jester's Cap on a 5/3 will actually be illuminating to, but I do happen to know what Jester's Cap does.
Yeah. I believe it does the same as Earwig Squad when it comes into play.
Jester's Cap is actually Earwig Squad on an artifact.
I see.
Yeah.
The original. The original. But still, Ethan in the rough spot of not having a black mana source in play. So it doesn't really matter what his Earwig Squad does, as long as
the weakness of the black
splash
splash being exposed here. Which is perhaps why Charlie elected not to play black.
Yes, all other players around the world. I can't. I mean, Ethan has beaten me with that card before, so it definitely does.
I mean,
something
the black
when you
splash
play
is
it.
powerful because it allows you to play Thoughtseize, and Thoughtseize is one of the best cards in the format. So
we can confirm that Marcelo is unfortunately not playing tonight, so we are unlikely to have a third Goblins matchup.
I mean, the decks are very different. You know, and when I say the decks, I mean the deck that Marcelo plays every week is different.
Oh yes, yes.
Sometimes it's Goblin Still with a blue splash for days, stand still, force of will,
and brainstorms. So I start to question where those goblins are.
Sometimes it's playing green for Deathright Shaman. I've seen that.
Oh. Has he pulled out the old Deathright Shaman?
Yeah, I mean the card's so good.
I mean,
why
it
not?
helps with the splash of Deathright Shaman. Yeah, Deathright Shaman.
It helps. Deathright Shaman really helps with the green splash.
Oh yes,
in
absolutely.
Goblins.
But here again, Deathright Shaman doing what it does best against goblins,
just blocking
being a
1/1. Yeah, being a 1/2. That card is so absurd. Why did they make it a 1/2?
Yeah, if it had been a 1/1, it would be a lot worse. But it would also be a lot better if it had been blue. Just putting that out there.
We've got some blue cards coming down now. We've got Baleful Strix, powerful blue card. Ponder, powerful blue card.
Force of Will, powerful blue card, especially without.
Force of Will isn't a particularly powerful card, in my opinion. It's you get to 2 for 1.
But it keeps all those other powerful cards in check, which is good.
That is its role.
But here we see the the black mana source for Ethan. Unfortunately, he's not able to currently actually get in.
He's going to incinerate the Baleful Strix and not the Deathright. I find that quite interesting.
I believe Incinerator does damage equal to the number of goblins in play.
Oh, really?
So he wouldn't be able to do that.
Thank you for that.
He would have loved to do
that. I thought Incinerator just did 2 damage. I've learned something today.
Yeah. No, it does damage equal to the number of goblins.
So there's a block here and a fetch. I'd just like to point out that in the end, Miguel didn't force these things go to when we before we got distracted. So he took more damage, but he still has that force in hand.
Yes,
is the point. So he can use that later.
All right. Oh, here we go. Another incinerator.
Okay. That's
and that explains the attack.
Yeah.
I mean, taking down the Deathrite. Although, yeah. No although here. I was just about to say, maybe you should do it after damage. But then after damage, there not being any goblins in play makes that play a little bit worse.
That's the kind of play that players new to the deck might accidentally
like myself.
make. Yeah.
But now, things looking a bit worse from Miguel's side.
But he's got lots of lands in play. He's got a Ponder, he's got a Force of Will.
He can actually hardcast that Force of Will if he decides to do so.
Here comes the Etherval.
Probably see him do that.
This has been a pretty interesting game one, like pretty back and forth.
Absolutely.
In some ways.
But also worth noting that there's a Snapcaster Mage in Miguel's hand, and we've seen 2 Colligan's commands so far, so I would expect him to just let this resolve. And
that being the end game of the 4-color control deck is Snapcaster Colligan's command.
Just fall for one-ing your opponent
endlessly,
yeah. Bringing back the Deathrite Shaman again. Yeah. So
he's going to let the Val resolve because he can destroy it with the Colligan's command.
Also, Ethan having 2 cards in hand. You know, Vile probably not being at its strongest right here.
No. And of course, Vile, I mean, we're kind of in Miracles mode a little bit. We're talking about Vile being very powerful. Vile is much better against Miracles than it is against 4-color control. Vile is a huge problem for the Miracles deck because of the sheer amount of counter magic it plays. 4-color doesn't really, it plays Forces.
It plays Forces.
And that's about it.
Absolutely.
So
which is
uncounterable creatures, not nearly as big of a problem because you're playing much more removal.
Yeah.
And you're playing ways, of course, to deal with the Vile, like Colligan's command here.
But here we see the play of end of turn flashing in the Snapcaster Mage for the Colligan's command. I would assume him making Ethan discard.
I don't know. I think I like bringing the Deathrite back.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course. You're right. I was
He needs to put that in his axe. There we go. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's see what. Ooh, the Jace off the top. Miguel.
Well, that could be pretty good here.
This could be pretty good. Him just playing both Deathrite Shaman and Jace the Mind Sculptor, having Force back in hand.
I think if there's one lesson that our viewers are going to take away from the stream tonight is that Jace the Mind Sculptor is an extremely powerful magic card.
Yes. Probably. Would you say it's too powerful for Modern, or
too powerful for Modern? Yes.
Well, people have been arguing about this since World Wake.
Since World Wake, yeah. It was too powerful for Standard, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's not true because Modern wasn't around when World Wake came out. But ever since the
inception of the format,
of Modern,
inception of the Modern ban list, Jace the Mind Sculptor, free Jace, hashtag free Jace. I think you know, maybe with Twin out of the format, Jace is safe.
Yes, this is true. But
that's a lie, by the way.
So we're gonna see a post. Oh, Ponder. Yeah, interesting.
Ponder over Jace.
Ponder over Jace. There's not that often that you see that. But yeah, Miguel's seeing.
I mean, he's firmly turned the corner at this point.
Yes.
I don't think this game will not going to be going on for much longer.
Especially Ethan being at 6 lives.
Yeah.
Getting beaten down by a Snapcaster Mage.
I think
next turn a Deathrite Shaman. And I believe Miguel drew another Deathrite Shaman off the Ponder there, so that could be game over on the next turn if the Snapcaster Mage is able to get in on the following turn. So potentially here the last draw for Ethan.
Do you think Jace is a powerful card in the old extended format?
In old extended. That was a very funny joke. Old Extended not seen much play in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Or 10 years. I don't know when Old Extended.
It all telescopes, doesn't it? Like, when did we even start playing Magic? When did these sets come out? When was World Wake?
When was World Wake? Well, World Wake was
a long time before I started playing.
When I was first getting into competitive Magic, which was in 2007, 8. No.
Back when you were a wee slip of a thing.
Absolutely.
Growing up
in 2010, 11. Yeah, it was around M11
Chat
or
will know.
M10.
Chat will know.
Yeah, so 2000. I put my money on 2010.
Okay.
And by money, I mean no money at all.
Okay. Jay's
Right.
coming down, bouncing the squad.
The Airwick squad. I can be as fluent on this, Francis, as I want.
Yeah. I mean, we're essentially
I would
masters.
say somewhere between 2005 and 2015.
Sealed in this airtight commentary booth, we are essentially masters of our own reality. Anything we say
is reality.
is true.
Yes. So, what do you want to make reality? This is now a reality
That's
stream.
a strong opener, Claude. That's a very strong opener.
What are you insinuating?
It's a good icebreaker.
I believe the life totals are inaccurate here. Ethan should be on 3 life.
Right.
End of turn going down to 2 life. Q reality smasher. Yeah. Not good enough.
So I've got mini reality smasher here.
Yeah, mini
Hasty
reality
Tutu.
Smasher. What do you want to make reality? Suddenly seems like a sexier stream. This is now a sexy stream.
It's a PG stream. It's a PG stream.
I will just warn the chat that once we're coming back to the booth, we'll be naked. So hold out for that. This may or may not be a lie, but we'll see. We'll see.
This
shortly.
is an interesting play.
Interesting.
Exciting lightning bolts
Yes, I mean
to avoid lethal.
Ethan definitely
Fighting to the last. Yeah.
just fighting to the last, getting a look at Miguel's deck for game 2, because this game
There is value to that. There is value.
Is over, I believe. As soon as Ethan passes the turn here.
Yeah, as soon as Miguel untaps with those Death Right Shamans.
Yeah, because Ethan going down to 1 here. And I don't believe Miguel is going to miss the 14 different ways of having lethal here. There we go.
There we go.
And this is
That's
the
game 1.
conclusion of game 1.
Game 1 to 4-color Delver. Who is favoured in this matchup?
That's a good question. I would say 4-color.
Really?
It just has so much removal. It
Has Death Right Shaman.
It has Death Right Shaman, just a turn 1 Death Right to blank that lackey. I mean, things can get hairy if you run into. Sorry, just trying to update the score here.
Yep. 1-0 to the 4-color deck.
Yeah. So things can get hairy as we stare at Ethan's sideboard Blood Moons. Definitely a card that is good against the 4-color deck.
I was about to say that the effectiveness of Wasteland is actually less than you would think against the 4-color mana base because of Death Right Shaman.
Exactly.
And because of the basics that the deck runs.
4-color usually running the island and the swamp.
Yeah, and we'll be hoping to see Miguel fetch those in the first couple of turns to avoid the Blood Moon.
He did in this game. He fetched basic swamp on turn 1.
But particularly important with the possibility of Blood Moon coming down.
Yes.
But again, the 4-color deck's playing Replicate can easily deal with Blood Moon.
Can deal with that.
If it's got a Death Right in play, or if it has mana open when the moon comes down. So there'll be moons coming in for Ethan.
Yep.
Anything else?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what Ethan has in his sideboard.
It's always a bit of a guessing game with these Goblin stacks.
Yeah, they. Again, I don't play goblins.
So I think Mog Fanatic is probably quite powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, it can take
to destroy Liliana.
Yeah.
After a minus.
Definitely.
Or combo with Tarfire to kill Jace, as we saw in the last match.
So we have Goblin's card advantage is definitely good.
Yeah.
But as we've seen in game 1, 4-color can definitely match that
card
advantage.
He drew both hymns.
He did draw both hymns. He drew 2 color guns come out. I think that is how the
question a little bit will
wins.
be whether he has those 2 extra hymns in the sideboard. If he's playing the full 4 on the 75. By the looks of our Goblin expert in the chat, it sounds like him is a powerful card in the matchup.
Oh yes, because it's actually, you would think that this all-in creature deck at some point runs out of cards.
It never runs out of cards because of ringleader.
The ringleader,
and because
the
of
matron into ringleader, you just always see your goblin's opponent with 5 cards in hand.
I think it's one of the most unique decks in Legacy.
Scary.
I think, in terms of the way it approaches games, and the way it approaches matchups, because it doesn't have. I mean, it has some of the weaknesses of a creature deck, but not all of the traditional weaknesses of a creature deck, which is to have creatures on the board, have them removed, and run out of cards. Often. Death and Taxes, for instance.
Another one is Merfolk.
Merfolk.
A local favorite.
A very powerful creature deck.
Very powerful creature deck. Recently top-8ing the largest UK Legacy tournament.
Recently?
Recently. Well, this was 2 weeks ago.
Really?
3 weeks ago, yes, top-8ing. In the finals. The top 4 split the prizes, but Merfolk making it onto the finals.
Death will rise from the tides, as they say.
As they say. Do they say that?
It's a.
Is it an old English saying? Is this what you're telling?
I think it's actually the lyrics to "I Am Murloc," which is one of the songs that was made by the Blizzard, that banned from Blizzard employees.
Interesting. No, this is generally interesting. Well, the Blizzard's, the Blizzard's universe obviously having Merfolk as well. The Naga.
Yeah. But yeah, that song in particular referring to Murlocs, which we don't really have an equivalent for in.
I guess they could be makeshift.
Cephalids.
Cephalids.
Yeah, Cephalid's one of my favourite tribes in Legacy.
In Legacy?
I've been known to make breakfast with Cephalids every now and then.
Cephalids. Not cephalids.
Well, no, Cephalids.
All right. Fair enough.
I mean, I'm an anatomist. Hard to see.
Jamie, get your pronunciation right.
My pronunciation.
Yes.
Okay.
Pronunciation. I'm so sorry. All right. As we get game 2 on the way, Ethan leading with the Bloodstained Mire this time, probably not being choked on black mana.
I don't think he's going to get choked in this matchup.
No, this is true. Stop taking everything literally, I say. But yeah. So Miguel, thinking about what his first land is going to be, well, we postulated he was going to go for the turn 1 swamp into Deathrite, but looking at his hand,
doesn't have a Deathrite.
Probably not going to happen. So let's see if he fetches up the basic island here.
It'll be an island here, I think, for sure. He wants to cast that Ponder now, and he wants to cast the Baleful Strix next turn.
No, absolutely. I don't recall how many...
He's going for the Trop.
He's going for the Trop. I was just about to say how many lands he has left in hand, because if he doesn't have another green source...
It's risky to go Island Swamp.
I mean, this has some risk on its inherent on its own.
Yes.
But that Ponder should find him another land, potentially. Also, the Trop not being very good with that Hemtatorok that he sees on top of his library right now.
Yeah,
with the Deathrite
neither with the island. So, would you have gone for the island there, or would you have fetched the Trop?
I honestly don't know what the rest of his hand is. Maybe we get a closer look here. Actually, yeah, it was his only fetch land, so the Trop is reasonable.
The reason, because he wants to cast that Deathrite.
Yeah, that would have been his only potential green source. And also,
so Ethan
I believe we missed Ethan Mulligan down to 6.
Mulligan to 6. We were talking about something else.
Yeah, something far more important.
More important.
But yes, there's the turn 1 lackey. Ethan being happy not
to see a turn 2 lackey.
Sorry. Oh yes, turn 2 lackey. Yes.
Ideally a turn 1 lackey.
Ideally a turn 1 lackey.
But
turn 2
a
lackey,
turn 2 lackey in this case.
Especially not seeing a Deathrite Shaman on the other side of the table.
Yeah, coast is clear. Here comes the lackey.
Coast is clear. Here comes the lackey. Potentially Ethan holding back the lackey to see what Miguel does.
Yeah, perhaps.
Potentially flustered by the lack of lackeys.
We can only guess at his intentions.
Yes.
Possibly he also drew the lackey this turn.
That is a possibility, unlikely as it may be. But yeah, there we go. Turn 2. Now, Ethan is not going to be happy to see this, but there is the Deathrite.
There's the Deathrite. Ready to block that
Ready to block the lackey.
And what is this? Do we have a Pyrokinesis here?
this could be a pyrokinesis. If matched by a force of will, that will be very unfortunate for Ethan, indeed. So Miguel making sure that this indeed does 4 damage to creatures.
Yeah. And I think we'll see a force.
I believe there's going to be a force of will.
I think I would probably exile the
I think I would
Strix.
Yeah, the Strix as well. Brainstorm just such a good.
I mean, we do like Brainstorm in this.
Brainstorm can be a very
in this community.
powerful.
In this format,
absolutely.
we like Brainstorm.
Yes.
And he just draws the top.
But he draws the top line, and we're off to the races.
Yeah.
Goblins doing what, and this is actually the first lackey we see tonight connecting. Even though we've had 4 games of goblins. And there's the war chief.
We're being attacked by chat for not keeping up with the game.
Oh,
I will say that we're probably still better than official Wizards coverage.
That is not a very high standard you're holding us up to. At least we're making jokes.
For the record.
But yes. Ooh, and there comes the Baleful Strix. Drawing a card. It is
another land.
Another land.
So we go with a Snapcaster and a him in his hand. We've got a War Chief and a Lackey on the board. Another Lackey, which is going to have haste.
Yes. So 1 Lackey definitely connecting this turn.
But Ethan only 2 cards left in hand, so the effectiveness of the Lackey.
If this is a ringleader, or if there is a ringleader coming in, then you know that.
So there's going to be a trade here.
Trade here.
Lackey trigger. Looks like a matron.
I believe next turn we might be in for a ringleader.
Yes, I believe we might.
Even if this turn Miguel escaped his inevitable fate.
But it's going to get himmed.
This is true. This is true. There is the him to Turok still.
I would expect next turn. These last 2 cards will be himmed out of Ethan's hand.
Yeah.
And not the fastest clock at the moment.
Yes.
So
currently 4 points of damage a turn.
It's anyone's game, I think. It's anyone's game.
But remember that Ethan's goblins are cheaper. So even if he draws a 2-drop, he might be able to cast that.
And you can see how valuable that Brainstorm would have been.
Yes.
Now, because those extra lands are doing absolutely nothing for Miguel right now, and he's got a fetch land now.
Yeah. Although not. So he elected to pitch the Brainstorm to the Force of Will, but he did, and then played the Baleful Strix, which traded with
and prevented the War Chief from attacking.
Exactly.
Because Ethan didn't want to trade
that 1 for 1.
with the
but
Strix,
also it traded with one of the lackeys, which means that Ethan couldn't have stacked his triggers and then resolved both and getting the ringleader into play as well.
I hadn't even thought about that.
So,
the double trigger,
yeah,
putting 2 goblins into play off the matron.
So Miguel has actually bought himself a turn to get rid of the second, the card that Ethan got with the Goblin Matron.
So Ethan has a Minister of Pain in his hand.
Well,
Are you familiar with this card?
I'm going to let you, Jamie, explain what this card does.
What, because I've played it in Legacy?
Oh, you actually have?
I have actually played this card in Legacy.
Okay.
I played it in Nick Fit.
Of course you have. Well,
it's from Dragons of Tarkir. It's an exploit card. You remember the mechanic exploit from Dragons?
I did not play during that period.
If you, when it enters, you sacrifice a creature, or you have the option to sacrifice a creature, and you get the exploit effect. Minister of Pain's exploit effect is giving -1/-1 to all of your opponent's creatures.
Right.
So it's very useful against the swarm of Strigers, and Snapcaster mages that we often see from 4-color players.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's obviously why Ethan brought it in.
But it's in the graveyard now.
It's in the graveyard, as we've said before. That him to Turok was the perfect play here against Ethan's remaining cards.
Or indeed the only play.
Indeed the only play.
Based on Miguel's hand.
But now Miguel needs to find an answer to the board. He is still scared
Blocking with a Snapcaster.
Still scared of that Goblin Lackey.
Yeah.
Another Snapcaster Mage.
That's an interesting draw. Do you ponder here? Or do you
think that's his only option aside from the him.
But Ethan only has 1 card in hand,
If that Brainstorm had still been in his hand that might have been good to get
we
rid
should
of
probably
another.
stop harping on about the brainstorm now, shouldn't we?
Of course.
But no, yeah, Goblin Lackey pointing out that Minister of Pain kills Trino Nemesis as well, which can be a difficult card to deal with in this matchup.
But I think Miguel here wants to see new cards. He wants to develop a plan for the next few turns.
So yeah, he'll be pondering here.
Especially because Ethan is currently on one land and he doesn't have a lackey in play anymore.
Yeah.
So he might just end up with a bunch of cards that he can't cast in his hand.
Fatal Push.
Fatal Push.
Interesting one
but
here.
2 more lands. Albeit one of them a fetch land.
I think you shuffle this, though, because the push doesn't actually kill either of those creatures without revolt.
So what are you hoping to draw into here?
Colligan's Command.
Colligan's Command, yes. Always good. Trying to...
Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Jace the Mind Sculptor, as we've seen in
Wasteland
games before. Wasteland would be good here.
I wonder if Miguel plays them.
I would just like to point out. I doubt Miguel is going this deep into
hasn't
his options.
Discovered that tech. Yeah.
No.
So we're going to see a shuffle and
shuffle.
an Edict.
Edict.
Edict is a reasonable draw here.
Gets away with a 1/1 here.
Yeah.
Definitely good. Stopping the beats.
There's a Pendelhaven.
And yeah. So we see Miguel making the block here and electing not to play this.
Well, you play after damage, I think, the Edict.
Yeah, this is true. Because now the Pendelhaven actually being relevant for blocks. All right, and picking up a lightning bolt here, which is good. Dealing with this lackey, I would assume.
Yep.
And we have a game that
has once again become a top deck war.
Top deck war.
Yeah. Leovold, Emissary of Trust. Powerful legacy card.
Yes, new addition from Conspiracy.
Not that new anymore.
Not that new anymore, this is true.
Format's had time to adapt to Leovold.
Yeah. And it certainly has. Being an all-star in obviously 4-color control, as we see here, but also food chain. Yep. Making use of it. And I know that you're an avid food chain player.
I am. And Elves often plays Leovold as part of its anti-combo suite. Because it can be green suns for. But not always. Becoming popular in Vintage as well, actually, Leovold.
Yeah.
More recently.
Although those Vintage decks that play Leovold, they look to me at least more like legacy decks with power.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't look like Vintage decks, do they?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Really
but they've been doing well.
Yeah. Well, not much to say here. A couple of Aether Vials drawn off the top by Ethan.
Always a fantastic draw in the late game.
He would have rather drawn some goblins, I assume.
Yeah.
While getting beaten down by a 3/3.
Yeah.
And
what has he drawn? He's got. What is that?
I can't tell exactly, but in the meanwhile, Miguel has definitely picked up a Brainstorm.
He has.
I could see him making good use of that.
And he's saving it. And don't you just love to see it?
Aston accusing us
so
one
actually,
more time.
I've got a really good question from the chat here, because this is exactly what I was just about to start talking about. Why no Brainstorm second main? Well, why would you Brainstorm second main?
You could draw more sorcery speed cards. You could draw Jace the Mind Sculptors. You could draw...
But as we all know, Brainstorm is best the longer it's left uncast.
This is true. However, Miguel has already got 2 lands in hand, which are definitely cards he doesn't want to have in hand, and he could put back. And he is currently in the driver's seat.
Well, we can see him brainstorming in response to Pyrokinesis,
to
try and find
an answer,
or to have a better perspective on what this Pyrokinesis means for him in a general sense. Yeah. Because he's got that Colligan's Command now. So he's picked up a force on the Colligan's Command. He can force the Pyrokinesis, or he could let it resolve and get the Leovold back. I think you probably force it because you want a Colligan's Command back your Snapcasters, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, he's brainstorming in response.
You're just pressing your advantage if you do that. You just drew a card of the Leovold.
Yeah.
You're so far far ahead here. You just want to keep
so
your
actually,
creature to
holding the
keep
Brainstorm,
beating down.
depending on which of the 3 cards the Force of Will was, holding the Brainstorm could have been critical there, because
Yes.
he drew an extra card off the
Yeah,
Leovold trigger
this is
and then
true.
brainstormed an extra card deep.
Yeah. I mean, it's always easier to say in hindsight. My argument would have been to brainstorm that turn, because you are currently in the driver's seat and you want to press your advantage. So you want to dig for cards like Colligan's Command, Snapcaster Mage, Jace the Mind Sculptor, to just put those on the board and continue pressing your opponent to try and tell them you have to come up with something here.
No, that's a good argument. That is a good argument.
Wasteland off the top, and
Miguel not drawing off the Wasteland there.
Nope.
Seems to have forgotten his Leovold trigger. You hate to see it.
As I have done many a time. But yeah, Goblins going down to 5. Miguel holding a Lightning Bolt in hand, so I expect here Ethan drawing his last card and extending the hand. That will do it.
2-0 to the full color deck.
Yeah.
Goblins not putting up an especially impressive show tonight.
No.
Which is, you know.
I mean, Ethan, he obviously has won his first round, because both players were at 1-1 before this round.
Yep.
So Miguel advancing to 2-0. Yes.
But not doing well on camera.
No, not doing well on camera.
Goblins wilting under the harsh lights of the studio.
As it were.
And being taken down in round 1 by Miracles and in round 2 by full color.
But I would say in the second round, definitely a harder matchup for Goblins here.
Yes.
As we could see, full color control just having so much removal for the Goblins. If Goblins doesn't get on the board, if they don't have that big beater to put in off the maybe one lackey hit that they get, then it can go quite badly for them. Yeah,
and the hymns and the discard being crucial in that matchup, and the removal and just card advantage of the four-color deck, very useful against Goblins because it can outgrind them.
Absolutely.
We saw in those games both decks would reduce to a top-decking wall, and the four-color deck draws better.
A card that would have definitely made a huge difference here had Ethan drawn it was Blood Moon.
Right.
We talked about it when the players were doing their sideboarding, and
Miguel no basics that game, right?
No, he did end up with both of his basics in play, I believe, but not early on. Early on, he only had a single.
But of course, early on, Ethan only had one land. So
this is true.
Drawing Blood Moon, perhaps not what he was looking for.
No.
Anyway, we're going to be back in about 10 minutes with round 3, and in the meantime, we will love you and leave you.
Goodbye.
Hello, we're back.
Hello, we're back.
For round 3.
And this
we've
time
got
we
our
have the
names
right. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
I'm no longer Jamie.
Yeah. So I was
so
talking to
good.
Ethan about
Did you?
the last round. And, commiserating with him. And he was saying that in the second game, because he'd expected Miguel to side out Force of Will,
Right.
because of the problems he talked about with counter magic
Yeah.
in the matchup, he played into it and got blown out by Miguel's 2 Force of Wills that he played during the game. So it's one of those things where it's like unconventional sideboarding decisions.
But I don't think it's that unconventional.
Can catch people out.
The 2 forces are still good,
Right. I mean, we don't know how many he kept in.
Yeah.
But are we? I think we're ready for round 3.
I believe we should go on to the game table.
Okay, good.
We've seen both of our players keeping their hands.
Slightly faster
Starting
deck
now.
on camera.
Yes.
This,
Diego having a picture of himself.
having a device at the table.
As a background. So, what is the matchup, Jamie?
It's elves from Adrian Larkin.
Anything special about his deck?
I believe it's covered in metal.
It is covered in metal, absolutely. It is fully foiled
It's
out.
fully foiled. What a nice thing to do to a legacy deck.
Absolutely.
Right, I mean, it's pretty nice to have the whole thing foiled.
No, of course. And on the other side, we have Diego.
We have Diego on Punishing Dak.
Yes.
Now, this is a cool deck. I like this deck.
I like this deck as well. It's
I like this deck.
quite out there.
Yeah.
Did you just make a pun?
No.
No.
Don't be absurd.
I wouldn't expect it of you.
So this Punishing Dak deck, it exploits the synergy between looting effects, i.e. Dak Faden, and Punishing Fire, because you can get Punishing Fires back from a graveyard after you've discarded them. So it's a huge source of card advantage.
Seems like value to me.
Seems like value to me too. And of course, Grove of the Bone Meadows and Punishing Fire, a powerful engine in its own right against creature decks, particularly against decks like elves.
Oh yeah. I mean, this I expect this to be hard for Adrian,
really?
Just because Diego has these Punishing Fires. I mean, once we get to the mid to late stage of the game, it can be difficult for.
And Diego has
those
that blue mana to
to do what blue does.
To do what blue does, or rather, what I'm getting at is to counter Adrian's early plays.
Yes.
So elves deck capable of very explosive starts.
Oh yes.
Having Force of Will in your deck, having I guess other counter spells off the board perhaps. Gives you an advantage because you don't have to fear those early draws in the same way as you would if you're playing a Jund deck with Punishing Fire or something like that.
Once Adrian resolves a Glimpse of Nature, his deck does silly things.
Yeah.
So
being able to prevent that Glimpse of Nature from resolving, very important.
Yeah,
very important.
Absolutely. So the game gets on here. A few early plays. Double Deathrite Shaman from Diego, which is definitely good, but Deathrite Shaman a little bit better in the other deck.
Do you think? Deathrite Shaman is wasted in elves. It's not nearly fulfilling its potential in the elves shell. It's just another door.
What are you talking about? You're able to untap it 4 times a turn.
I know, and then you run out of lands in the graveyard. It's useless. Its saving grace in elves is the fact that it has 2 toughness. Because a lot of
this is true.
Anti-elves cards you'll see will be Minister of Pain or similar effects that deal 1 damage to all the creatures. So Deathrite's good for surviving those.
But here we see Adrian doing what Adrian does best, drawing cards with his elves deck.
Yeah. Visionary, one of the most powerful cards in the deck. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way, this deck is an Elvish Visionary deck.
Yes.
It's the card you want to see.
Especially in the games where you don't combo necessarily.
No. You just
playing
why would
Visionaries.
Symbiote, Elvish Visionary,
Yes.
Do you ever side it out, Visionary? Probably not.
Probably not. No. I mean, I
That's always
don't
a
have
good
a lot
sign.
of experience with the deck, but I doubt you do. It is always good to draw cards.
Yeah.
It really is. So
Because often with sideboarding with elves, I find sideboarding with elves very difficult because you often have to trim pieces of the engine.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that Visionary is one of those pieces that you probably wouldn't trim because it's just great all the time.
No.
Someone's going to correct me. Do we have an Elvish Mystic 1 in the chat to go with our Goblin Lackey?
Elvish Mystic 1.
Our Llanowar Elves 1.
Yes. Llanowar Elves 2.
Llanowar Elves 1994.
Right, so we see Diego here playing a Brainstorm, considering his options.
He's got a few options.
He's definitely aware of what Elves is able to do.
Yeah.
And so far, Adrian hasn't really done much.
Apparently, you do side out Visionary against first combat.
Right.
That makes sense. It is the grindy card.
Yeah. But yeah, Diego looking to find removal, but also counter magic to counter that Glimpse of Nature.
And he's got a Leovold in his hand, it looks like.
That is definitely
that's
a good card
against Glimpse of Nature.
Yes. Well observed, Jamie.
Thank you.
Well observed. Right, so we expect Diego here to fetch up a land that lets him cast that Leovold, adding
Do
the
you think
last
he's going to
mana.
go for the Leovold this turn? I think so.
I would assume so. He is scared of Glimpse of Nature.
Right.
Definitely one of the scariest cards in that deck.
At the same time, Adrian could just go land Natural Order.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. But just a Natural Order here doesn't do all that much. I mean,
Progenitus?
I don't believe they play Progenitus main deck.
No, not these days.
So that's
but, you know,
definitely a
assuming
card
that is how people lose matches.
This is true. And I am... My record, let's say, against Adrian is not great. so yeah.
We seem to have some Spanish fans.
Yes, we do. Diego,
truly a global stream.
Absolutely. Diego, I believe, being from Uruguay.
Oh, I see. Spanish-speaking fans.
Yes, Spanish-speaking friends. Friends?
Friends? you can make friends with them if you want.
Yes. I am friends with anyone and everyone. Good.
So
yes,
fetching a Dryad Arbor and step.
Yeah. This making the natural order for Kratos Behemoth
more powerful.
Having yet another creature in play.
And for Cradle, if he draws a Cradle, although it doesn't look like he has.
Adrian is well known for not just jamming that Cradle, though.
He saves it.
He's very aware of when you play your Cradle and when you hold it, because something might happen to it. Or
not in this matchup, surely.
Not in this matchup, but also something might happen to all of your creatures. Then your Cradle does nothing.
Yeah.
You know? So he's very content in just playing lands.
A cavern
and see where the game goes. So we have the Wild with Symbiote here.
Cavern not naming elves, then?
Apparently not, no. Well, one reason might be he has another Cavern in play in hand,
maybe. Or wanting to keep up that coloured mana for some reason, for a non-creature spell, perhaps.
I don't believe that Elves plays Abrupt Decay main deck, so...
Could go deep. Could go deep.
Not entirely sure.
Be pretty good against Leovold.
But yeah, definitely this Leovold coming in handy here for Diego, because Adrian would really like to bounce those Visionaries. And draw
that's what I was about to say, because he can't Glimpse and he can't bounce his Visionaries.
No. So there's a few avenues turned off for him here.
Leovold once again demonstrating.
But here another powerful play, Leovold plussing on his opponent.
Right.
Letting him draw one
card and discard
and
two.
Discarding two.
That's nice.
But we'll see what Diego elects to do. Going into
he might want to plus on himself.
Yes.
If he's got cards that he doesn't want.
Searching for maybe a Force of Will. I'm not sure whether he plays that card in his deck. But it looks like he pluses on himself.
That's a shame, because it would have been sweet.
And there is the Force of Will.
He's got a Force. Okay.
I could well think or well imagine that in the following turns he does decide to plus on Adrian.
Yeah.
Because he now has an answer to one of his big spells, namely Natural Order.
Yeah. He's found the Grove, so he just needs the fire now.
Yeah. And once we're at that stage of the game, this is why I said early on that this deck definitely a hard matchup for Adrian.
Right, yeah.
Because at that point there is very little he can do to to fight against the punishing fire.
So what are we thinking? Deathrite, of course, one of his main deck answers to punishing fire, in a sense. If you've got multiple Deathrites in play.
Yes. But we saw immediately turn 1, Diego electing to fatal push the Deathrite Shaman.
Always bolt the bird.
Yes, bolt the bird.
So floating some mana here for Nissa. Now this is a very powerful, relatively recent addition to the Elves deck. I have lost this card many times because I unfailingly underestimate it. Because it's not a big, flashy, I'm going to get a huge creature and kill you.
It's a new card as well.
It's just like, well, do I force this? Can I afford to force this? I think
I would expect Diego here to force this card.
It's certainly a payoff card in the deck, I've realised.
Yeah. Especially him having the Dak Faden plus Leovold in play, where he can whittle down Adrian's cards.
I'd like to apologise for a factual error earlier in the broadcast.
Which
when
was?
We said that Adrian's deck was fully foiled. Because apparently he's missing 2
Is he
cradles.
Missing 2 cradles?
He's missing 2 cradles.
Unbelievable. How can he live with himself?
I feel betrayed.
Me too.
In a real sense.
Yes.
I feel like I've been lied to.
Yes.
That everything I thought was true is now cast into doubt.
It is.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking, really. But thank you to the brave souls in the chat who brought that to our attention.
That figured out that there are no foil versions of Gaia's Cradle? Is this why?
There is a judge foil, isn't there?
Is there?
I think so.
I'm not entirely sure.
Chat knows. If he's only missing 2, I mean, this information is coming from Francis, so it's just it just probably isn't true.
Yeah, he misses 2 foil cradles, indicating that the other 2 are probably foil.
Yes. But at the same time, Francis has asked why the names are the wrong way around, and they're not. So you can't really trust that man.
Yes. Although
so that this is being forced there, as we thought it would be.
Yes.
Yeah, there are judge foil cradles. I thought so.
Yeah.
Damn it, Claude.
I just love misleading
Spreading
people,
misinformation, slander.
Yes. False news.
False news.
All things.
False news.
But yeah, Diego's still rather looting than whittling away on Adrian's cards. One of the reasons, definitely Adrian still having a lot of cards in hand. So you're actually giving him card selection by doing that.
Right.
Yes, you are.
And it looks like Adrian's sandbagging lands for that purpose.
Exactly. Adrian definitely aware of the interaction between Leovold and Dak Faden.
If all the elves are covered in metal, does that mean Dak can steal them?
I would have to get a judge in on this to clarify, but I believe it does. Yeah.
That -2.
So that's potentially a huge misplay from Diego.
What from Adrian to foil out?
No, from Diego,
to not see
because
to not see that he could steal
he
any.
He has not stolen that foil island
or the foil forest. Or,
yeah.
You know, any of these cards.
Yeah, and I just noticed another card that is not foil in Adrian's deck.
Yeah,
Bayou.
No foil Bayou.
Right there.
I mean, I think we can forgive him for that one.
All right, just this once. Just this once.
But yeah, essentially a free liquid metal coating for Diego.
All right, as we see the turn getting passed, another Elvish Visionary joining Adrian's hand. Still not very good with that Dak Faden in play.
No, that Leovold. What is he?
Leovold.
What is he?
Apologies.
What is he going to do, Claude? How is he going to win this game?
Drawing natural order.
Drawing natural order.
That's certainly a way out of this.
But natural order for Craterhoof is not lethal.
No, it's not. But now you have a 5/5 in play.
But now you have a 5/5 in play.
So it takes a lot of punishing fires to kill a 5/5.
That's true.
The exact number, we can figure out later on in the stream, but certainly more than one.
We'll get the numbers guys on it.
Yes, we'll get the numbers guy. But yeah, another way of
Greenstone's in it for Packmaster. That Ren's Run Packmaster, right?
Packmaster. I am not sure that.
Is that the card? Ren's Run Packmaster? I don't think he plays it.
Isn't it the one that deals damage to an opponent equal to the number of elves in play?
Oh, Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah, Shaman of the Pack. that sometimes the Legacy version plays, but I am not sure that Adrian actually does.
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
It's a staple of the modern collector company elves, for sure.
It definitely is. Sometimes you see it in Legacy.
I wonder what the card Ren's-Run Packmaster does now, because I've got that name in my head and I've got no idea what the card does, and I'm pretty sure it's an elf.
Well, maybe we can get chat on it again. Apparently it would.
It is the Packmaster.
It is
but
the
what does that card
Packmaster.
do? I actually don't know.
Well,
Our
we
inexperience
will never know. We will
is
never know.
showing. I'm sure that B4L4 can tell us.
What, our inexperience with obscure Lorwyn cards. I think we can be excused for that. I just assume it's Lorwyn, by the way, because
I think you're
elves.
right. Looks like Diego's thinking about something, passing the turn.
Yes.
Not able to swing through that.
So this is
cloud
what
elves.
I was going to say. Another way of stopping that Leovold is just playing a bunch of 1/1s. Because now Leovold can be blocked, which would not be...
Yeah, but he's not going to swing with it, is he?
Well, yes, this is what I mean.
It's not really dealing with the problem.
But it is dealing with the problem of dying.
Okay,
Granted, there are still
it's a 4-mana 5/5, but you champion an elf, pay 3, create 2/2 wolf. Wolves
now,
have
this
death
I
touch.
believe a big mistake by Adrian playing this.
Because of all his artifact
because of all his metal creatures. And
looks like they both missed
and
it.
Reclamation Sage not being a May ability, hurting Adrian here.
So he's going wide,
Going right.
hoping to draw that natural order.
Yes.
Because natural order, of course, now,
yep.
if it resolved, would be lethal.
Yeah. And currently, Diego not having a Force of Will in hand.
No,
which is worth
he's wide open to it.
He is wide open
It's
to
a waiting game.
However, he is dealing the beats.
He is dealing the beats. Adrian's at 11 from these Deathrite Shaman activations.
Another thing to point out here, that Dakfaden creeping up to its ultimate.
Right.
Are you aware of the ultimate on Dakfaden?
I am.
Good.
Whenever
because I am not.
Cast a spell targeting an opponent's creature.
Yes. Or an opponent's permanent.
It's just creatures, I think.
No. Is it creatures?
I don't know.
No, it's not creatures because you can Pyroblast a land and then gain control of that
Okay, whenever
land.
you cast a spell that targets a permanent control by an opponent, you can gain
Yeah.
control of it.
Right. Well, let's see if Diego manages
Which I believe
to
is why he runs Fire Ice as well. Because
yes, he can
one
tap
of
a
the
land
reasons.
or tap an enchantment
Because
or anything that
or deal
is
2
a problem.
damage, or deal 1 damage to creatures with more than 1
Yeah,
toughness. Fire Ice, of
Getting
course, very powerful against the elves deck anyway, because you get to kill 2 elves.
This is the problem I found with the ultimate on Dakfaden, that once you target something, it dies, and then you don't gain it.
Yeah, generally you don't play spells in your deck that target things without killing them.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see what... Oh, there we go. There's the Punishing Fire.
And this could be the beginning of the end.
Yes.
Or at least, at the very least, the end of the beginning.
Yes. We are in game 1, so you are not too wrong. All right, and Diego
He's attacking with the Lil.
releasing the brakes here a little bit. So, bringing the beats with Leovold, Emissary of Trest.
A betrayal by an elf to his own people.
Yes.
You hate to see it.
We hate to see it, and yet it happens so often these days.
It's been a real sort of tribal sort of an evening, hasn't it?
Yes,
Here
it
at
has
Duxford.
been.
We should get
Goblins
Merfolk
twice. If only someone had brought
If only
Merfolks.
someone had played. Maybe we'll get a true name on. We'll do the next best thing. Okay.
All right, Diego returning his Punishing Fires to hand.
Hello, Agrippa 91.
Interesting here, Adrian not blocking the Leovold here.
Yes.
He could have blocked with 2 1/1s and his Deathrite Shaman.
But if he does that, he
losing 2
loses his out.
He does lose 1 out, but he gains another, which is Glimpse. But maybe because he doesn't have the Cradle, he is not confident of having
a
enough
big
mana
Glimpse turn. Yeah.
to actually get there. on the glimpse. So he's thinking that his best chance is just to draw that natural order and put a big creative behemoth into play and overrun his opponent.
But yeah, his time is running out. It's at 7 life.
Yes. Here's a Green Sun Zenith. This may solve one problem.
Could get Heritage Druid.
Could get Heritage Druid for the mana.
Yeah.
We'll see. Or he could get another Wildwood Symbiote. But the Symbiote, I mean, it just dies to the Punishing Fire again next turn.
Yeah.
But maybe that is exactly what Adrian needs to do. Just play a creature every turn, so that the total number of creatures that he has on his turn doesn't change. So once he draws that natural order, he still has.
It looks like he's getting the second Death Threat Shaman. This is what I was sort of talking about earlier, which is the answer to the Punishing Fire is to have multiple Death Threat Shamans so that you can eat it
in
response to the Grove.
And
another lazily flicking
a 1/1 into play.
1/1 into play. Yeah, we were mentioning the Packmaster just because it was mentioned by the chat.
Yes, and we are.
Neither of us knew what it was.
Yes.
Because again, as you say, it's fallen out of favour with these elf decks because of Fatal Push.
Yeah.
Apparently.
But yeah, let us see if Adrian can draw that natural order. I believe this was end of his turn. Yes. So. Diego untapping, drawing his card.
And Adrian doesn't have the black open, so the Punishing Fire is essentially acting with impunity here.
Also, that Death Threat Shaman has Summoning Sickness, because end of turn...
Oh, he killed the other one.
Diego took out the one that had been there for longer. Right.
Francis says you can get foil bayous from China.
Oh.
Public service announcement. Don't buy counterfeits. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yes.
You hurt the game or something.
But now here's the force. So Diego is safe from at least a single natural order off the top. So, yeah, bringing back the Punishing Fire and taking out the second Death Threat Shaman. Basically eliminating all hopes.
Abandon all hope.
Abandon all hopes.
So that's game one to Diego on the Punishing deck. That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Well, it's a very interesting deck, you know.
It's a very interesting deck.
How often can we make this fun? Not often enough is the answer.
Fadens out of
existence. Yes. Was that another pun?
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
Interesting.
So our players going to sideboard.
So we're going to see some decays, perhaps, from Adrian?
I would assume so. There's lots of
to deal
targets.
with Faden and with
and
Leovold.
Definitely two cards that won him the game here.
Yeah.
And
looks like Diego's sideboarding quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's probably got sweepers in the sideboard. Some combo hate.
Yeah, I would assume.
It's like he's taken out a couple of decks. He's taken out forces. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Maybe he knows the matchup becomes grindier afterboard.
Yeah. But my problem with that, with taking out forces against elves, is you just die to that glint. You just die to that natural order. So I'm always a bit hesitant in doing that.
I couldn't quite see what the first card is. You bring in Murderous Cut.
Murderous Cut. Potentially some Thought Seizers.
The Flusterstorm. So the idea being to have counter magic that doesn't put you down on cards.
Yes.
Or combo interaction doesn't put you down on cards.
Flusterstorm definitely a must bring in for all decks that play it against elves. You wouldn't think so initially.
He's not bringing them all in though.
Is he
he's bringing in one.
Oh,
and I think he's left another in his sideboard.
Okay.
It can look silly when your opponent's just visionarying over and over again
to
have Flusterstorm in hand.
But I do like having two Flusterstorms. Not just to deal with a glimpse, but no. Forget that.
Just
Dealing with a glimpse
to
is
deal
good.
with a glimpse. And natural order.
Dealing with a glimpse and natural order
natural
is
order.
quite good. Yes.
You can, in some cases, end up in danger of the elves being able to pay for the Flusterstorm, because it can generate a huge amount of mana.
No, this is true. But often it can't do that before actually going off.
Yeah.
Drawing into that cradle,
It's always
drawing into that elf with...
Interesting definition of what going off is in the elf deck.
Yes.
Because sometimes you're sure you've seen it.
Yes.
And other times
you see it again, and you're like, wow, I've never seen that before.
No, but, because it can have powerful turns that don't necessarily constitute a going off.
Yes. No. It can certainly just
particularly
draw
after
4
board
cards without actually playing
winning
any new cards.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it here. Why would Symbiote plus Elvish Visionary? The only reason why Adrian didn't win that game was because there was a Leovold.
Yeah.
He could have bounced that Visionary 3-4 times.
Oh, yeah.
Gone ahead by miles.
Yeah.
And this game would have shaped up very differently because then that punishing fire is extremely
Because Diego
slow.
didn't have the second force for a very long time.
Yes. No.
There was a huge window of opportunity.
Right.
You can see that Fire Ice there you mentioned.
I love that card. I've certainly played that in Legacy to some degree of success. Oh yeah.
In what?
In Blue Red Delver.
Blue Red Delver, okay.
The poor man's...
You used to play quite a lot of Blue Red Delver.
The rich man's burn deck.
The rich man's burn deck.
I was about to say the poor man's burn deck.
Well, the poor man's Delver deck. Except for the fact you have to have like 4 Volks in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's definitely
there's
not
nothing
the
poor about it.
Certainly all of my Volks were borrowed by richer
so
people.
the chat has some opinions on the sideboard.
Do they?
Because the new game plan of Nissa, who we mentioned before, and Choke against blue
Choke,
decks.
definitely a card that
Makes Flusterstorm less attractive than it used to be.
Yeah.
From the blue side, because your opponent's plan, it cannot be interacted with by Flusterstorm. I think Adrian does play Choke.
Yeah, I have definitely seen him play it. Also, we have to remember we're playing at Darksphere. There is miracles.
Yes.
And there's always going to be miracles.
So Choke is a good option for
yeah.
green decks in their sideboards.
Because Tundras are also islands.
But I wonder how good Choke is in this matchup, because Diego's playing a lot of different colours. He's playing Death Threat Shamans.
Yeah, he is playing Bayous.
Yeah.
He's playing... sorry, not Bayous. He's playing Badlands.
Yeah.
He's playing Death Threat Shamans. But he is playing blue.
He is playing blue, but a lot of his
good against blue decks.
A lot of his
Diego being very happy here with his top card.
Not quite sure what's happening there.
I think he took a mulligan, but he looked at the top deck, at the top of his deck, and it was the card he wanted, as it always is.
Because
that's why you never mulligan.
The cards that are good in this matchup from Diego's side surely are the black and the red cards anyway. So maybe we'll see a Choke, maybe we won't.
Excuse me. Getting some different opinions from the chat here. People who side in Flusterstorm against elves is 80% of the time wrong.
80%?
Yeah. Well, I can freely admit that I'm more than 80% of the time wrong, so there goes that.
Studies have shown.
Studies have shown.
That Claude is 80% of the time wrong.
Yes. Still wonder why I'm sitting here.
There's don't worry, they are as well. The main debate in the chat right now seems to be over the inclusion of Renzra Packmaster in Elves lists. That seems to have sparked a raging furore in the chat. As it would. Very controversial card, Renzra Packmaster.
I mean, discussed a lot.
A lot of the debate in the Legacy community.
Absolutely.
Recently.
Also
around
for
podcasts,
potential
blogs, everything.
Oh yeah, potential bans for the future.
Everyone's asking the question: what about Renzra Packmaster?
Yes.
But we're going to find out tonight. It's going to be resolved. So we've got a fairly slow start from the Elves deck here. With a Nettle Sentinel.
Nettle Sentinel.
Diego's just playing lands.
Yes.
Looks like he's got his Fire Ice in his hand. And we have a glimpse.
There's the glimpse. Certainly a good card in conjunction.
It is
with
Darksphere in London,
Sentinel.
Cobra Hand. It's in Lambeth. Yes. So yes.
So this could be an interesting turn here. That glimpse resolved.
Okay.
I'm sure Diego is not very happy about that.
But at the same time, not a huge amount of mana available to.
No, this is
Adrian.
true. But I believe he hasn't put a land down yet. As I was
Okay, so he
saying
could have
earlier.
that cradle.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, Adrian, very aware of when to play his lands, because then his opponent doesn't know how much mana he has. If he just
As
jams
little
that
information
cradle,
as possible.
then
to your opponent.
Diego knows. Oh,
Yeah.
I better just kill every creature as it hits the battlefield. Because at
Miniffer
any
pointing
point
out here that Flusterstorm would have actually been quite good.
Oh yes. Yes. So it's one of those rare 20% cases.
Okay,
right.
Edict
So
here to remove the
Edicted
Sentinel.
here, storm count up to 2.
So the Sentinel off the board making
In case
potential
there's a
Heritage Druid.
hunting pack here.
Potential Heritage Druid less powerful,
Yes.
and of course the Cradle
Yeah.
less powerful as well.
Right, so we'll see what Adrian puts in into play here as his first
You
creature.
don't think he's just going to go Glimpse Go? No.
I doubt it.
Okay.
I think he's played this deck before. Given that he has foiled it out, I think he's played it at least once or twice before. But there's a symbiote.
Yep. Strong card.
So I would expect we can see the cradle, and he does play it. So there's a second
Symbiote's
symbiote.
good. That's because they can
That
protect
is
each other
gonna
from
be
removal. So
No, it bounces an elf.
They bounce elves.
So this is
They're insects.
This is not very good against that aforementioned Fire
Fire
Ice.
Ice, yeah, because one of those symbiotes is going to get
This could
tapped.
be this could be quite bad for Adrian indeed.
Yeah.
Losing both of his
There we go.
symbiotes.
Nice clean 2 for 1.
Nice clean. Well, 2 for 1 on Adrian's side because he drew 2 cards. 0 for 1, that is. Yeah. All right, so
People are upset that Diego's brought an Edict against elves. But
maybe he just wanted yet another removal
yeah,
spell.
removal spells are fine.
Removal spells are good.
I don't think I mind it.
Now that Cradle tapping for 2 mana, but nothing to put in, or not wanting to put anything in. Now, crucially here, if Diego hits another land, or actually he can deal with that symbiote because he has punishing fire.
He does have punishing
I was
fire.
thinking of the Snapcaster Mage into Fire Ice.
Lots of debate about the sideboard
Yeah, that's
in this matchup, which is good because I always, I think on either side of this matchup, I would be confused about how to sideboard. I mean, I'm often confused about how to sideboard, as we all well know. But and the Fatal Push.
There's certainly a Fatal Push card that you would expect
to keep in.
Diego to keep in. Yes. Oh, and
so this is nice, just control.
This is what Diego wants to be doing in his
absolutely.
early turns, just controlling the board, just not giving Adrian a chance. And I believe Adrian having a Nissa in hand, so his plan was to play Nissa this turn.
And there's the choke.
And there's the choke.
The horrific Invocation choke.
Invocation choke. By the way,
which I do not endorse.
Just as an advertisement, I'm still selling invocations.
you can't use this stream to advertise cards.
But they look so horrible. I don't think I actually make an appealing case for someone buying my cards.
Unethical. You're not going to be invited back.
But yeah, here we go. Choke into Green Sun Zenith.
No, this is a Thoughtseize.
Sorry, Thoughtseize. Yes, the turn was
Do
passed.
try to keep up, Claude.
This is a difficulty with
revealing Zenith from Adrian's hand and taking a Nissa.
Yes.
So yeah, that unreadable card.
I am so impressed, by the way.
What?
You knew that was a choke.
I was just about to say that unreadable card is a choke.
I was just about to say that there is a card that we will never know what it is.
It's probably green. No, I've seen him play his invocation chokes before.
Right. You play blue decks?
Not against me. Although I have been known to dabble in blue.
In blue, yes. Has it been known? All right. Adrian here adding 2 mana to his mana pool. Playing a Green Sun Zenith for 1.
Yeah.
Could definitely see him getting his last Wirewood Symbiote.
And the Dryad Arbor Beats coming in.
Or indeed the Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah. Shaman is good here because Diego doesn't have that Grove yet, so if he can get rid of that Punishing Fire, he might be in a better spot.
But it's really just a matter of time before... sorry, the deck of the player on the right is Punishing deck. It is a deck that utilizes the combination of Burn of the Grove Willow and Punishing Fires.
Alongside Dak Faden, because discarding the Punishing Fires to Dak Faden is free, basically.
It's free, yes, absolutely. But also using the interaction as we've seen in Game 1 of Dak Faden and Leovold, Emissary of Trest.
So yeah, it's essentially, as you say, Sky L3 Laser, a Grixis mid-range deck, but splashing green for Leovold. Sometimes Decay, I think, possibly.
Possibly, yes.
And that Grove and Punishing Fire combo.
All right.
So there was a Deluge there taking out the first Stride Arbor and the Deathrite Shaman. And we've had an attempt, by Adrian to get back on the board, which is being stymied by another Punishing Fire. Diego is now desperate to draw a Grove.
Yes. I mean, what Adrian really wants here, I think he still has 1 or 2 elves in his hand, is another Glimpse.
I'm not sure that Notion Thief was ever the combo in Legacy. I know it was in Vintage. But has Notion Thief and Dak been played together in Legacy?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, in the early days.
There was like Grixis Thieves, the Vintage Grixis Thieves deck is well known. But
I mean, it was never a tier 1 deck.
No.
I don't think. Although I'm bound to get hate. In
Thank
the chat
you,
for that.
Agrippa. Yeah, it's a Deathrite Shaman deck.
Yes. As all decks are. Sorry, most
as
decks.
All mid-range. I think you can say that all mid-range decks in Legacy. Well, all.
Would you say that Miracles is a mid-range deck?
No, I think I would classify Miracles as a control deck, but I know that some people will disagree with me.
Yeah. Either way.
We can only apologise for the Invocation choke.
Yes. Had we known this in advance, we would have chosen a different.
Replaced it. We would have had him replace it with a basic land.
Yes. Judges along the globe would be happy.
But no, Notion Thief, very powerful card.
Yes,
we have,
in fact, better with the Dak Faden +1.
Of course,
than Leovold.
Because you get to draw 2 and they discard 2.
Yes, absolutely. Also, your opponent not actually drawing a card.
Yeah. We have the Notion Thief in the tournament tonight.
Oh, we do. We do. Our local mascot,
Tom Brown.
Tom Brown, who enjoys his Leovolds.
Perhaps could be on camera next round. So there's that player you're talking about, Snapcaster on the Fire Ice. Very powerful, very powerful.
Definitely taking out a bunch of creatures here. Diego again in the driver's seat here. Adrian with a single card left in his.
And that choke has really just been a road bump
for
Diego. It hasn't crippled him in the way that you hope choke will when you play.
Although it is very powerful. I mean, Diego
powerful,
can play maybe 4 or 5 blue spells total for the rest of the game.
I mean, he's got blue cards in his hand that he can't cast.
Oh, yes.
He's got a Leovold. It looks like a Dak as well.
Yeah. And had Adrian not put enough pressure on the board for Diego to actually respond, I could have definitely seen Diego putting in that Dak Faden to loot through some of those blue cards in his hand.
And Diego's pretty low here.
Oh, yes. 6.
He's had to spend life fetching, toxic deluging, taking beats from Giant Armor and friends. Yeah. And this Deathrite Shaman here could be a big problem.
Oh, yes. Definitely taking out his only Punishing Fires at the moment. So even if Diego... Oh, excuse me, there's another one. So Diego does have 1 more turn to draw a Grove of the Burn Willow.
And actually, catching a glimpse of Diego's hand there, his hand is full of blue cards.
Right.
This choke is doing serious work.
It does a lot. And now
that looks
Adrian drew his last Wirewood Symbiote.
Yeah. And that looks like it.
Oh, yeah.
That's game 2.
Yeah. So much for us knowing who's in the driver's seat. As we have
well, I mean, we're not really paying attention, are we? But no, it's...
Who's playing anyway?
The choke, perhaps more powerful than it appeared at first glance.
Yes.
Turns out it's not the number of lands that are tapped that's important, but their colour.
Yes. This is
So,
true.
yeah.
This is true.
Did-
But definitely had Diego had a Dak Faden in play already, burning through some of those cards in his hand, finding those black spells, those red spells to deal with any creature that Adrian puts into play.
Yeah.
Would have been a great boon for Diego. But
And we might see Diego siding out some of his blue cards now that he's seen the choke.
He definitely wants to bring in enchantment removal if he has it, or some way of working around the choke. You know, maybe some alternate win condition that doesn't require blue mana.
Yeah.
Some planeswalker or other.
Lily under the Veil, I think
Can
he
we-
believes he has.
Can we get a judge to ask Adrian to remove the invocation? I think this fellow in the chat has a has a good point. But no.
Just as long as it's just the choke. If he
Yes.
plays a different one, I won't know what it is.
He can surprise all
What
of
other
us.
invocations could you play in that deck? Invocation
Well,
Thoughtseize?
You could play
Is there an Invocation
Dark
Thoughtseize?
Ritual. It plays black.
Is there an Invocation Thoughtseize?
Yes, there
Yeah.
is. I think it's actually the most expensive one of them.
Yeah.
No. There's a Force of Will, right? Force of Will is more expensive.
I don't care about how expensive they are, Claude. I don't buy
Oh,
cards.
right. You're just using mine.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, I think we're okay.
We're okay. All right. Let us update the score. We're now on 1-1
Yeah.
for
Game 3.
game 3. As it's actually quite often that this happens. The players are on 1-1 when they go into game 3.
Yes.
I've noticed this.
Traditionally.
Yeah.
We have opening hand board drawn by Diego. I think I saw a Spell Pierce, possibly.
Is that a Spell Pierce? Diego does like his Spell Pierce.
Does he?
Yeah.
It's not a particularly common card in Legacy.
No, but it's actually quite good.
It's good against choke.
because I was just about to say it
Yeah.
counters enchantments,
Yes.
which Flusterstorm does not.
No.
So whoever the fellow was who who said that Flusterstorm was wrong 80% of the time,
Well,
you got me.
perhaps that figure's climbing. 81,
right.
82.
Adrian keeping his 6, scrying at the moment, and he appears to keep it on top. Diego on the play,
See a turn 1
leading
Death
with the Deathrite.
And that's
Shaman.
what you want.
Absolutely.
Fetching the Badlands.
Such a bad land. Sorry,
Strong.
I had to say that. I was contractually obliged to make that joke. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, Deathrite Shaman in the Elves deck just looks slightly better than Deathrite Shaman in any other deck.
I don't know. I think I'm of the opposite opinion. I think part of Deathrite's power, well, a big part of Deathrite's power is his ability to tap for any colour of mana. And the Elves deck
Of
does
course.
not take advantage of that, usually.
I mean, it can happen that you lead on Forest into Cradle or something like that, lacking the black mana
need the black
post
mana.
sideboard for the Cabal therapies and such. So it does do that. A second Gaia's Cradle for Adrian, I believe.
Something like a better Elves of Deep Shadow.
Slightly better. But yes, Elves of Deep Shadow definitely
Worse than Deathrite Shaman.
no, definitely the second most powerful
Second.
elf that you could play in that exact spot. So yeah, Adrian not afraid of any wastelands from Diego.
Nope.
I mean, looking at Diego's deck, he's playing 3 colors, committed heavily to each.
Yeah. 4 colours.
Excuse me, 4 colors. Not expecting wastelands.
No,
from-
wastelands
from
in a
him.
4-colour deck are always quite suspect, I think.
They are.
I like how this has come up every single round. So we can see Adrian sandbagging that Cradle, as he likes to do.
As he likes to do. First putting creatures into play,
And then
cradling.
playing the Cradle.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
It's
master.
clever. Well, Adrian is known for playing elves. He does like the deck.
New team, the Punishing Dak deck won game 1.
one,
Diego
yes.
won game 1.
The punishing fires were just too strong.
And then game
that
2 was
game.
Choke, essentially.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
we didn't realise it at the time. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
We were distracted. I
yeah.
mean,
By ourselves.
by ourselves.
Which isn't really an excuse.
Well, I was just about to say here, Diego kind of sandbagging his fetches for blue spells. doesn't really want to commit to too many blue spells, as he knows this choke can really
As he fetches an underground sea.
put a number on him.
Yeah.
Well, he was debating it, you know.
Okay.
He was, am I really in need of casting this spell here?
But it's a brainstorm. So it's brainstorming end step. Now, does that make you die a little bit inside? Or
No, not necessarily. See, Diego doesn't want to fetch up a lot of blue mana sources.
No.
Having one in play is good. He has the spell Pierce. He might not have that many other ways of producing blue mana. So he just wants to get value out of his brainstorms right now.
Okay.
Because otherwise
Before he's cut off blue,
you're just never casting your brainstorm, because you always need to hold up that spell Pierce for the choke, or for the glimpse, or for
That's a good point. He wants to hold up that spell
other
Pierce.
things.
So Grove coming down, which is good news for Diego. Just needs to find that punishing fire now, and he'll be able to turn the corner in a big sense. Looks like the brainstorm was exiled by Adrian.
So here an interaction can come up. Diego tapping his Deathrite Shaman in order to exile a land.
I think he's attacking.
No. He's exiling a land, and Adrian has the opportunity to untap his Deathrite Shaman.
Oh, I see. I'm getting
exile
confused about what's in exile and what is in the graveyard.
I think
Mostly because it's
exile cards are just
screen.
off the screen. So the exile zone is
been
off the screen.
removed from the stream. Remove target card from
Yeah.
the stream.
I apologize to our viewers for Jamie. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I won't be asked back. Was that a Marsh Casualties?
That was a Marsh Casualties. That was quite good. Actually,
Seems like a good card in this matchup.
It only took out the symbiote. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 1-for-1.
The symbiote's very
you know,
powerful.
it's
You need to get it off the board.
Very powerful. There we go. There
There's
comes
the
the
cradle.
cradle. 3 mana available
Just
for Adrian here.
Flops it right down on the table there.
Another visionary, knowing that his first visionary stuck, so probably the second one will as well. It just always surprises me how powerful this card is in that deck.
A 2-mana 1/1.
A 2-mana 1/1. It is just It is good.
I miss it in standard. It was good in standard.
Yeah.
In the rally deck. I don't suppose you were playing standard at the time.
I came in at the end of that standard.
It was a proper
rotation.
combo deck in standard.
yeah.
It was pretty sick.
Yeah.
It was sickening, actually, in many senses.
Was that before or after the decline of standard? Or are we not commenting?
I don't know. I've enjoyed.
In other news,
I've enjoyed
recent
standard.
bans have banned
You know, it's just
a
Grixis
3-mana
now.
3/3.
It's just Grixis now, standard. Have you
Is
seen
it? All right.
The recent results is just Grixis mid-range.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Ooh, but a powerful play here
Yeah.
from Diego.
Deluge is great.
Deluge taking out, yes, all of his creatures.
But will it be enough
more
here? I
importantly,
mean-
all of Adrian's creatures.
Yeah, Adrian's got 3 cards in hand. If he's got more visionaries, this party's just getting started.
Yeah. This is true. Well, we can get a glimpse at Adrian's hand there.
I'm very.
There it is. Who knew? Diego being as surprised as we are of the third visionary, but definitely good.
What's lucky in Spanish?
You shouldn't ask me this because
on a postcard.
I'm well known for mispronouncing Spanish words
And English ones.
and English ones. Yeah, I have trouble with languages, so
Apparently it's suerte.
Suerte. I just said a word that I have no idea what it means, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
could have called someone.
It's
something
no longer.
really
It's no longer a PG stream.
no longer a PG stream
you're a
because
Spanish speaker.
we're not knowing what we're saying anymore, as if we ever did. But yeah, looks like that deluge was certainly something. I just want to recap. Diego having nothing on board, 5 cards in hand. Adrian somehow having 2 creatures on board, 4 cards in hand. and a land more than Diego.
Elvish Visionary.
So, Elvish Visionary just doing what it does.
I mean, this is a sort of Diego's answer to Elvish Visionary.
Yeah, just 2-for-1s for days. I mean, why would you ever not play with 2-for-1s? It's they 2-for-1 you.
Here's a question.
Your opponent.
Here's a question. Baleful Strix in Modern. Yay or nay?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I mean, that's too good, isn't it?
Death Shadow is just not good enough. You need that 1/1. But also, importantly, it's a very good answer to Death Shadow. No, I think...
There he is.
There he is.
Are we going to see... but the Spell Pierce doesn't
but
do
it
anything.
might be... This one might actually be a Thoughtseize. Who knows?
No, it's,
I mean,
it's a joke. I can see the green. It's a joke.
And was that Volcanic Island tapped?
No. It wasn't. It was left untapped.
Ah, right. Yeah,
so
there's the Underground Sea.
Again, yes. Diego, handful of blue cards, choke in play.
Yeah. He does have another
He's
blue
drawn
source in
another
hand.
bulk. But he gets 2 more blue spells this game, and then that's it.
That's it, yeah. Better make one of them being a
no, there are no, to my knowledge, there are no Turbo Depths or Maverick decks being played tonight, unfortunately. No. Maverick's one of my favourites, I have to say.
Yeah, sometimes.
People in this chat are obsessed with Turbo Depths, though.
Yeah. Well, it did take down this aforementioned largest legacy tournament in the UK.
Well, that would be why, then.
Or maybe not.
But people aren't asking about Merfolk.
Which is clearly the best deck in Legacy, but
yeah,
you heard it here first.
Merfolk's extremely powerful
also
in all
vintage.
formats.
In
vintage.
And drafts.
And draft, yeah. In Rivals of Ishalan draft.
Oh, yeah. And standard. I mean,
is Diego playing any Enchantment River? Well, it's possible that he's playing Decay, but I'm not sure if his list has Decay.
And we didn't see it while he was sideboarding.
No.
But sideboarding was quick and...
Decay is a card that this deck can play. But it can be difficult to cast.
And there's his answer, in a sense, to choke. His
non-blue win con.
His non-blue win con. Exactly.
And not an easy win con for Adrian to deal with if his creatures are being removed.
Exactly. He has one creature currently being bested by that Baleful Strix. So we'll see how he responds. But he still has a couple of cards in hand. To
one of them's probably an Elvish Visionary.
Why wouldn't it be? Although we get a...
Oh, I think I saw it in the deck.
I think I saw it too.
It's fine. He'll shuffle it to the top.
It's fine. He'll just draw glimpses.
Maybe it's the only non-foil card in his deck, and that's how he gets them to the top.
Right.
Probably shouldn't you just accuse people of cheating on the stream. It's probably not a good thing.
Definitely. Both of these players, well known in the local community.
This is quite
not cheaters.
This is quite a nice play though, because he's fetched the Arbor so he can kill the Liliana.
Oh yes. But he is losing his Deathrite Shaman, and he's lost a few of those.
Yeah.
He's lost a few of those. Abrupt Decay.
There's the Decay.
Well, not losing anything.
Not losing anything. This is not looking good.
This is not looking good for Team Diego. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, I want to apologize to chat. Had we known that there were invocations in Adrian's list,
we would have cancelled the stream.
We would have cancelled the stream.
We would have cancelled the stream. We would have pulled the plug. We would have said it's over, guys. We can't carry on.
But so far, yeah, we've already started.
The damage is done. It's been exposed on live on air.
Live on air. Yeah.
Everyone's face has already been melted off by the horror. So for the survivors, all that's left to do is struggle on.
Struggle on, it is. But here's what I was saying throughout this game: just Adrian sitting there, getting his creatures killed, and still somehow having 12 cards in hand.
In many ways similar to what we expected the Goblins deck to do.
Yes.
In these kind of matchups, where you just always have cards.
Scavenging Ooze and Diego not being happy about that one.
No.
Second Cradle to follow it up, just casually making 3 mana.
Yep. And there's a lot of elves in Adrian's graveyard.
Oh, yes.
That Ooze is going to get very big very quickly.
That for one, but it also cuts off Diego's hope of removing any of his creatures with his Punishing Fires.
Exactly.
They're just going to get eaten. So, especially after the first
and you can see that even apart from Punishing Fire, Adrian's prioritizing important spells in Diego's graveyard to prevent Snapcaster shenanigans.
Yeah, but an important point here from pointed out from the chat. Adrian sacked his foil cradle.
But that's to play around Dackfade.
True.
Because Dackfade can steal the foil cradle.
Yes. Right. Oh, this is
an artifact.
yeah. This is a very tight play here from Adrian.
He's playing on another level.
Absolutely. Right. So Adrian here very wisely exiling all things that can deal with creatures.
Yeah.
And
this is going to present an extremely fast clock.
Yeah.
To
this game is very much slipping away from Diego here.
I mean, he can draw Fatal Push.
He could draw, I don't know, All Is Dust.
All Is Dust.
Certainly a card that would be good here. But
yeah, he could draw Lifebane Zombie.
Lifebane Zombie, certainly.
Be pretty good against elves.
A non-blue win con.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let us see how Adrian chooses to close out this game. Because
perhaps with a Scavenging Ooze.
Because he is in definitely in a driver's seat here.
The brim of his hat poking into view.
I was just about to say, Adrian, not just known for...
He's ready to leave. He's put his hat on already.
Yes.
He's about to head out the door. He knows this game's over.
Not just known for his mastery of the Elves deck, but also
for his impeccable fashion sense.
Impeccable fashion sense. That is exactly right. As the... what's that called?
Toxic Deluge.
The Toxic Deluge enters the exile zone. Just yet another way to untap a creature.
Yep.
Always wanted. Always wanted.
With those Death Rites. I think I'm beginning to see what you mean about the power of Death Rite Shaman in this.
Oh yes. It is quite a powerful card in the deck. But definitely here, Adrian choosing to exile all creatures, putting more counters on that Scavenging Ooze.
It's an 8/8 Scavenging Ooze.
And
which will give lethal this turn because he has the Death Rite.
Yes.
So that's a nice line.
That is a nice line. Adrian known for his lines, for playing the right lines, sorry.
And so that will wrap up. Or will it? Oh, no, okay. We have a blocker.
Ooh,
we have a blocker.
We have a blocker.
We have a blocker.
Good. We get another turn here. Let's see if Diego can
do anything at all.
Do anything at all. Maybe he is going to draw this All This Dust. Let's see.
Looks like a Leovold.
Like a Leovold. Leovold definitely would have been good early on in the match, but not looking so good here. Especially no blue mana available to even cast it.
That choke again making an appearance.
I mean, there is a land in the graveyard, but again, Adrian can untap his. Well, first of all, the Scavenging Ooze can eat it in response, but he can also untap his Death Rite and eat the land. So
he has all the options here.
All the options here.
Diego fighting to the last.
Yes. Diego not known to give up easily. Definitely not. He is making Adrian do the right place.
Yeah.
And often you see people conceding way too early. But here there was nothing else for Diego to do.
So that'll be Adrian Lockerid, triumphing 2-1 over Diego on Dark Fane.
Yes.
That was a good match.
Good. That was absolutely a good match.
We saw the Dark Fane deck do what it's supposed to do game one.
Yeah. Shutting off
power of that deck.
Yeah, shutting off the draw engine that the Elves deck definitely has. And removing all the creatures. Punishing Fires and Burn of the Grove Willow. Definitely a good interaction for Legacy.
And then we saw the power.
Deemed too strong for Modern.
Too strong for Modern, yeah. And we saw the power of the Elf sideboard plan against blue decks, which is the choke.
Once that hits,
usually to be followed up by a Nissa, somebody mentioned in the chat, but
or just a barrage of 1/1s.
Dryad Arbor beats work as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll be back for round 4 in a few minutes' time. Hello, welcome
Hello.
to round 4.
Yes.
So, Adrian advancing to 3-0 there.
Yes.
So he's in the finals against Patrick,
Yes.
who is playing Sylvan Quinn.
Sylvan Quinn. Yes.
Sylvan Quinn.
Quinn
ladies and
definitely
gentlemen.
an
It's 3-0.
archetype that he likes a lot.
Yeah.
It plays Undiscovered Paradise.
Yeah.
So
It's one of his favourite cards.
card.
Yeah. But that deck is a sort of Enchantress variant, playing Helm combo,
Helm of Obedience
sort of thing.
and Rest in Peace.
But we don't have that for you.
We don't have that for you, no.
Because we didn't want to risk putting that Invocation Choke back on
Yeah.
camera. Although they probably wouldn't bring it into that matchup. So instead, we have Callum Whitefaces Smith against Nick Yonikos. And we have Lands versus Infect.
Lands versus Infect,
which we'll go to
so
now.
let us go to the table. Both players just shuffling up.
Yeah.
Callum on the right here, Nick on the left. These two players certainly well known in the local local legacy community. Certainly have in the past tried to increase.
Do you know what I just saw poking out of Callum's sideboard?
There was a choke.
A choke. A non-horrible choke.
A non-horrible choke. Callum, well known for not liking foils.
Yes.
Good man.
An opinion I have to say I mostly share, although perhaps not quite as badly as he did. The reason we're not showing table 1 is just because we want to give everyone as like a turn on camera
exposure.
if we can. And Adrian's already been on, so we'll let you know the result of that match when we get it. Not sure who's favoured in the Quinn versus Elves matchup. But
not sure. That's on many Elves sideboard tables.
Looks like Nick's got a strong hand here. He's got an Infect creature.
Turn 1 Infect creature. Yes,
he's got a Force of Will, a Brainstorm.
Yeah.
He's got a backup Infect creature.
He's got a backup Infect creature.
So he's feeling good about this hand, I think.
But worth saying again, the Lands deck also plays Punishing Fire.
And we have a turn
Grove.
1 mana bond.
Ooh, this could get very exciting very quickly.
This should eat a Force, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
But you don't want to force your opponent's mana bond when you're playing Infect. You want to force their, Punishing Fire on a critical turn.
It depends on how fast Nick's hand is. If Nick has a very grindy hand where he wants to get a couple of creatures online, chip in a couple of turns, that would definitely help him make a decision.
But
here.
you really start sweating when your opponent goes mana bond because the potential on that card is
just
ridiculous. So we'll see a
Nick does
Force.
think that his hand is more of a potentially more of a grindy one, but also is respecting the strength that comes with mana bond.
That's a powerful card in the matchup. Barbarian Ring.
Yes.
See a gamble here.
Gamble here could definitely be for the Punishing Fire, but it could also be for the Life from the Low.
So this is Callum went first. Then this is turn 2.
This is turn 2. Yes. Callum waiting on his land drop to see what happens. Possibly baiting out a Daze there as well, thinking that his hand was not
because his hand wasn't very good for mana bond.
Yes. Yes. So this was a very heads-up play from Callum.
And there's a Punishing Fire.
Yeah. So definitely a choice card. I'm not entirely sure if he got that or just had it in hand already.
No, I don't know. Here's a Brainstorm. Berserk, Brainstorm, Blighted Agent. Nick has a
still missing the
plethora
spell,
of.
or is that an Invigorate on the left hand side?
I don't think
there?
so. I think it's a Glistener Elf. Next to it, not sure.
Yes, you're right.
It's it's too many Infect creatures at the moment, so he's going to put at least one of those back.
Definitely wants a few more pump spells.
To try and finish this game quickly. Because if you let the Lands deck spin its wheels, it's going to have a lot of powerful anti-creature cards to bring to bear.
Absolutely. But yeah, as Francis is pointing out, Nick is the reigning 2 times UK Legacy champion.
I did not know that.
Yes, he won 2 in a row. Playing, you can guess, Infect. He's definitely his deck of choice, Infect.
I've only ever seen him play Affinity, and that was in Modern.
Right. Yeah. Not known for playing Affinity in Legacy, I'm afraid. But yes. So unfortunately we don't have a way to digitally show you the Infect counter. Hence
we have
why
a
we
dice.
have a dice.
We have a die.
So, a die. I'm sorry. I always say a die, but for some reason I just said dice. Strange.
Because I said dice first.
Yeah, you said dice. Stop saying dice.
I led you down the wrong path.
Ooh, but there's a Molten Vortex in the hand of Callum.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good card in this matchup. Just as long as you can keep that board clear, you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Because they need to get a creature online first.
And yeah, that's how Infect loses games.
Yeah.
Is it loses all its creatures and then it draws pump spells.
Yeah.
And
You just want to have, ideally, you want to have one creature and a bunch of pump spells and protection
or
spells.
two if your opponent has a Maze of It.
Absolutely.
Which is what we're seeing here.
We just saw this here, but Callum waiting on the Maze of It.
Looking for a loam here, probably?
Probably getting a loam, although he just passed one, so could be looking for
He's getting a second maze.
a second maze.
Interesting.
In case he discards his Maze of Ith to the gamble.
Well, he wants to have his cake and eat it. He wants two. He wants two mazes.
I mean,
Little
the
does he
thing
know
is-
that Nick has a third Infect creature in his hand. Nice bit of dramatic irony for our viewers there.
Ooh.
Gamble officially doing nothing.
Gamble. But also, I mean, yes, Callum did have a Molten Vortex in his hand, but he doesn't have a lot of other lands in hand.
No.
So
Drawn surprisingly
potentially
few
not
lands for a land stack.
Yeah. But the land stack doesn't necessarily get lots of lands until they get
Start loaming, yeah.
until they start loaming.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Another brainstorm. Drawing Spell Pierce, Blighted Agent, Verdant Catacombs.
Right. So still not the pump spells
No pump spells.
That Nick really wants to see here.
Yeah.
So he's putting a land and another Infect creature back, or did you see what the other card was?
Yeah, it was
Either way,
the
it's
Blighted
getting
Agent
shuffled away.
and land that he put back. Of course, Callum doesn't know that Nick doesn't have any pump spells.
Yes.
So he can't use his maze.
Yeah.
Because if he uses his maze, he'll just die to the other creatures,
Yes.
so he thinks. So he's taking the full force of these
Yeah.
attacks. He's up to
Yeah.
3 Infect now.
Yeah. But Callum obviously very aware of this. He's looking to, maybe here playing his Molten Vortex, but no, he just starts loaming.
Yeah.
He already had the loam in hand, which makes the gamble for a second Maze of Ith much better.
Yeah.
Because he can then, if something goes wrong, he can just
And here comes the
loam
Molten
it back.
Vortex. Sort of bases out the Spell
Yes.
Pierce there, which will be pretty
Although I think that
He
Callum
would have liked,
rather had
yeah.
this Maze of Ith resolving, this Love from the Loam resolving to get the second
Possibly,
maze into play.
Sorry,
Although-
I'm going to apologise to viewers about the glare on
Yes.
the cards
Yes.
in the bottom right there. That
Maybe
is
in between games we can get someone to help us out with that situation.
that is a forest and a tiger, I believe.
It's Tranquil Thicket.
Ah,
in fact.
a tranquil thicket
Yes.
and a tiger.
Standing in as a forest.
Standing as a forest. Performing the role of.
Yeah. So Nick still has a Blighted Agent in hand, but Nick also being very aware of not just playing out his creatures, because they can stand in as potential risky cards that he could have in hand.
Yes. It's all about the information game when you play Infect, for sure.
But he elects here to play his his Blighted Agent, especially because he knows that Callum is getting that Love from the Loam back.
And Callum helpfully dredging off screen there.
Yes.
So he's milled a stage, which could be
and a red card.
could be copying a Maze of Ith at some point.
So yeah, so there was another Punishing Fire and a Mox Diamond in the graveyard, but definitely playing the second Maze of Ith here. Callum has a Exploration in hand, so he elects to keep. Sorry, in play. So he elects to keep that second land in hand, so he can potentially activate his Molten Vortex.
Yes.
Definitely good to Maze of Ith your opponent's Infect creatures, but definitely better to kill them.
I'd agree.
Would you agree?
I would agree.
Good.
But
One thing we can agree on. First thing of the evening.
So he's going for one of the mazes here.
Yes.
Because he can safely use one of them.
Yes.
Up to 7 infect now.
Yes.
So really no need for any pump spells anymore.
Yeah, but now he can go end of turn, just kill one of one of the
there's
infect
4
creatures.
in play. You know?
True.
It's not a great spot, and there's so much that he needs to respect as well.
Absolutely. But he can take two damage one more time.
Yeah.
So he's in a decent position here.
Okay.
Because he starts loaming 3 more lands back, potentially gets another red source, such
Looks
that
like
he
a
can
glacial
activate
chasm in his graveyard there.
glacial chasm.
Glacial chasm.
Yes. Does that prevent
Damage?
infect damage?
I think so. Because I think it stops you from being damaged, and
yeah,
infects as a
damage
replacement
and
effect.
life loss, I believe.
It doesn't stop life loss because it has
Yes,
cumulative
you're
upkeep.
right. You're right.
Too. So he's played the chasm here. Chasm's pretty good here.
Absolutely.
And it looks like he has a wasteland and a thespian stage. That looks like a foil.
No, that's a Richardon port.
Okay.
So foil, Judge foil Richardon port.
Oh dear, a foil.
Oh dear.
Callum's letting us down.
Here go the foils. But I believe Callum actually borrowing these cards, so they're not. He can't be blamed too much for the foliage of his pitch deck. And Nick reading Glacial Chasm, making sure that it does actually prevent his infect creatures.
It's one of those cards
dealing
that
damage.
Nobody can ever remember quite how it works. Glacial Chasm.
Yes, and definitely a card that has been read a lot.
Yes. But a mainstay of the land stack, and
Yes.
a useful one at that.
No, absolutely. But there we go. Callum now dredging.
Yep.
And there's the first grove. He already has a couple of punishing fires in the graveyard. And this looks like lands definitely
Turning the corner.
turning the corner and getting ahead.
Yep.
No basic forest foil port. Callum having a shocker. Yes, this is true.
Luckily, we can't see the full port anymore.
Yes, it would be good to
After this game, I'll run over and
to
see if we can
let the
sort that out.
players know. But yes, this has now gone to the Lance is winning the game stage, where
Do you think?
Lance does things, and eventually coming up with a 2020 that swings in for the win. And in the meanwhile, the opponent not really
doing anything. Not
yes.
really playing Magic often.
Isn't that fun? And there we go, Callum getting back 2 punishing fires here.
I think Nick's out here is Callum dying to his own Barbarian Ring. Just taken 7 damage from it so far.
But Callum, I believe, having a Thespian stage in play, so once that life loss gets too dangerous for him, he can just copy the Glacial Chasm with the Thespian stage and not losing any life. You know?
No, it is quite a good combo.
Absolutely.
Funny how Thespian stage is so useful in the land stack.
That is indeed funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
really, I think you might be right that this is now just a waiting game. I mean, Nick hasn't conceded.
No.
He thinks it's worth playing it out.
Yes. Well, currently Callum hasn't done anything yet, right?
No. But he can keep looping this.
And there we go.
So I was having a discussion about this the other day, actually, with Tom Caddick.
Yes.
The Lance player. About copying Chasm from stage.
Yes.
And whether you can do it in upkeep. Because if you do it in response to the trigger...
I don't think so. Because if you do it in upkeep... well, excuse me. Yes, you can do it in upkeep.
Yeah.
Because then the Glacial Chasm that you just... that was just up until now at Thespian stage doesn't trigger.
Yes.
I think.
And then you can not pay on the other one.
And then you don't pay. And the other one you can sacrifice.
So you
but
can...
on the other hand, the way that Callum did it there, he did it on end step, but then stacked the triggers in such a way that he No, excuse
Yes.
me. He still
has to pay 2 life. But I think he can avoid paying 2 life by doing it in response to the trigger on upkeep.
Right, but costing him mana on upkeep.
Upkeep.
Yeah. Apologies there for misleading everyone yet again. But I'm sure Callum doing the right play.
He tends to.
As he does sometimes.
Yeah. He does tend to make the right.
But still here, Callum has a bunch of lands in hand, a Molten Vortex in play. He can just start taking out those,
I think we'll see him doing what we've just discussed. He's now untapped, copying an upkeep.
Yes.
So he can keep looping it. And that's
he
a
just
lot,
has to make
really.
sure that he gets his Thespian stages back with the life from the loams. But that's certainly something that that Callum knows.
Taking a Tabernacle here, just going to restrict Nick's options even more.
And a Wasteland to just take out that Inkmoth Nexus, leaving Nick with no infect creatures in play.
Well, he's got the Glistener Elves.
Yes, but I'm talking post
there's
Vortex here.
There's a
but there
concession
we go.
from Nick.
The concession. This has
I'm just going to run over and
deal
talk
with
about
the
the glare. Yeah.
So you'll. In the meanwhile, I will be dealing with updating the score. So Callum proceeding to 1 and 0 here against Lance. Excuse me, against Infect. Right, so the sideboard. Seeing here, definitely Callum looking at those lock pieces to bring in. Bringing in the Sphere of Resistance, maybe the Chalice of the Void, things like that.
Tax effect's quite useful against.
Absolutely.
Chalice especially.
Yeah, lots of 1-drops in the Infect deck.
Yeah.
I mean, you landed Chalice on 1, turns off a quarter of their win cons.
Yeah.
You know, in Glistener Elf. So definitely a good one.
Although
here.
you know, it's not a death sentence because Inkmoth Nexus, Blighted Agent, Invigorate. Become immense. So.
And also, Nick being on the play, he can just play that turn 1 Glistener Elf, turn 2 Invigorate Berserk, and we go to a game 3. I mean, there's certainly lots that can happen here.
Of course, Callum can make a 20/20 on turn 2. So
yes,
it's
these are all possible plays.
Some powerful legacy decks that we are watching tonight.
And this is certainly some of the appeal that decks like Infect and also Lands have, that they can sometimes get these free wins.
Yeah, free wins are nice. You certainly don't get many easy games if you're playing Miracles or playing...
but we might also see a game that in the long run can be decided by choke, as we've seen before.
Yes.
Another one that is worth mentioning is Crozen Grip, as Callum looks at his 4 Crozen Grips in the sideboard.
Which can target Inkmoth Nexus.
Target Inkmoth Nexus and deal with it, full stop.
Yes.
Certainly no way of saving it from a Crozen Grip in the Infect deck.
And what kind of things is Nick looking for from his sideboard, do you think?
I'm not too...
I'm not
too
fully au fait
with the Infect deck and the Infect sideboard.
I think they play a crop rotation sometimes, and they can play Wasteland alongside that.
Yeah.
That's powerful against the land stack.
Yes.
It's a powerful piece of interaction.
Wasteland certainly good in taking out opposing Wastelands, but also in taking out
stages or
Dark Depths, in case they have
the
combo on the board.
He'll be looking for some kind of graveyard hate for the Punishing Fires, I expect.
Yeah, I could well imagine Nick bringing in Surgical Extraction, very powerful against the Lands deck.
Yeah.
Taking out those Wastelands, taking out those mazes,
Punishing
Fires,
Life from the Loam, Dark Depths.
Just you want to take out the engine, especially in a matchup like this.
Yeah. Creature based.
In a matchup like Miracles against Lance.
Yeah.
You are looking to also take out the win conditions.
Yeah.
because the games can go long, and they might be able to do more, to make more 2020s than you have Swords to Plashes or Terminuses. So
pointing out, BD2K pointing out that you can play Bajuka Bog alongside crop rotation as well. Crop rotation package quite powerful, in fact. I think I have seen, and I'm not making this up, or well, actually I might be, but I think I remember seeing a Teferi's response in an Infect sideboard to counter abilities and spells aimed at their Inkmoth mech.
So for anyone who doesn't know what Teferi's response does, please, Jamie.
It is a 2-mana instant. It's a colorless and a blue. It says counter target spell or ability that targets a land you control, and if the ability source gets destroyed and you draw 2 cards. It's a big blowout, but it's pretty niche. So we're underway.
So we see here in Nick's hand, he brought in Pithing Needles and Surgical Extraction.
Pithing Needle very powerful in this matchup.
Depending on how this game progresses, although I'm not sure it progresses too much longer because there is an Invigorate in
okay.
Sorry, we were just told that they can actually hear what we're saying, so that's not
Callum's cheating.
Good.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. But yeah, we'll be turning down and commentating.
Generally, the ambient noise in the room has been enough to cover up our exclamations.
But, sometimes we're shouting, so, so there's that. Well, hopefully this hasn't affected the game too much. But yes, so let's see how this game progresses. You could very well see Nick surgicaling the Wastelands.
That seems premature to me.
Yes, but it can be quite good here because Nick is leading on yet another non-basic land.
Right.
But
he's elected not to.
Yes.
There's a maze.
There's a maze of it. Quite good.
Could be
but
getting needled.
Nick has the needle in hand, so we could see quite a quick game 2 here. Nick potentially winning on turn 3 after swinging after swinging in a couple of times with the Elf and pumping it with the Pendlehaven. And then on the 3rd turn playing the Invigorate for lethal poison counters.
I think Callum's suspected the same thing.
Yes. So let's see what Nick is doing here.
So he is going to surgical those Wastelands.
He's going to surgical the Wastelands. Also a way of seeing what is going on in Callum's hand.
And the answer is not a lot in terms of the next couple of turns.
Callum was really hoping that this Maze of Ith was really doing damage to Nick's game plan, hoping that Nick might just have a bunch of pump spells in hand, maybe some
that needle's going to be crucial,
and that the Maze of Ith actually does a lot. The Punishing Fire, worth pointing out, too slow for this situation, because the Maze of Ith does not tap for mana. But there we go.
Okay.
Nick.
Oh, he had the vines, which prevents targeting by the Maze of Ith. So he has the win in hand.
We missed that line. Turn 2 kills. Always a
fun
feature.
To watch.
Always a feature of the Infect deck. And we proceed to a 1-1 score here.
Yeah. Players returning to their sideboards.
Yes.
Looks like
a natural state or
Nature's Claim.
Nature's Claim.
That's the usual artifact hate in Infect sideboards.
Certainly not caring too much about the life gain. Of the Nature's Claim.
So those will be coming in for the kind of cards that we mentioned before, the spheres.
The spheres, but also the choke.
The choke,
which again is quite good against the Infect deck.
Yes.
Blue, definitely not just the splash. No. One of the main colors.
Lots of tropical islands.
Yes, lots of tropical islands. In fact, this was a turn 3 kill because there was a wasteland.
Yes, of course. Thank you to Bori Kuahit.
pronouncing names, not our forte. But yeah.
It's like a chain of vapor, is that?
Chain of vapor.
Yeah.
I mean, good against 2020 flying indestructible token.
But all of these cards, they just claim chain of vapor, shut off by Chalice on 1.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So, and now Callum definitely being him being on the play, having possible hand of land plus Mox Diamond into Chalice.
Or indeed Ancient Tomb. I think that list plays Ancient Tomb.
Ancient Tomb. I think it plays a singleton Ancient Tomb.
Which is powerful in this matchup, for sure.
Absolutely. But Nick still has Force of Will. Free interaction in terms of mana. Always good in a combo deck that goes off in 1 turn.
Yeah.
And just needs to protect their combo on that turn.
We have 20 players today, I believe, and 4 rounds.
Yes, 4 rounds. So this will be our last round.
Yeah.
Our last match, in fact. Sorry. Game.
Our last game. Let's hope it's a good one.
Yes. Let's hope it's a good one. Let's see who won on table 1. If we can figure out who won in the match of
Patrick
Elves
versus Adrian, yeah. Elves versus Sylvan Quinn.
Sylvan Quinn.
That age-old matchup.
Patrick won.
So that's 4-0
for
Sylvan
Quinn
tonight at Darksphere.
Yes.
That's one for the books.
One for the books,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Have to see if we can get a list. Maybe
yes.
put a link to the list in the chat.
Yes.
For our viewers, so they can try Sylvan Quinn.
Oh yeah. Also, a little advertisement: the Southern Legacy Players Facebook page, where we after each week. So these are weekly events, and after each week we publish the positive records.
Yes.
And what lists were played, how many people were there,
yeah.
and so on. And you can inquire on there.
For a list. If Patrick deigns to give it to you.
Yes.
He might want to keep the tech very secret.
Yes.
Because if it's as powerful as it appears to be,
yes.
You might want to save it for the Legacy Pro Tour.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And Helm of Obedience.
Yes.
Staples in any of Patrick's stack.
What's Sylvan Quinn? Well, isn't that just a question on everyone's lips? It's as I understand it, it's an Enchantress variant.
Yes.
With Helm and Rest in Peace combo.
Yes, and it plays lots of. It plays more like a mid-range deck.
Right.
Lots of Sylvan libraries.
Lots of Sylvan libraries.
Yes.
Well, that sounds good.
The full 4. I believe.
Full 4.
Yes. At least last week when I played him.
Okay.
That's what happened. So.
We'll see if we can get a list for you.
We have the turn 1 Mox Diamond into Exploration and 2 lands. So let's see what Callum can produce here. Certainly a powerful start, but
he seems to be sandbagging a maze.
Yes, he does.
Which I probably shouldn't have shouted.
Probably not that loud, but
yeah.
We'll try to keep it down yet more. Right.
We should get noise-cancelling headphones for the players.
Oh, yes.
They do it. Those League of Legends.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a Pro Tour now.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes,
of course. Yeah.
You can see the players with headphones.
There's a needle.
Right. There's a needle. So this potentially being the reason for Callum to holding back that maze.
Yes. Looks like he's named the stage.
Yeah. Can we get confirmation?
As has been mimed to us by the players.
So it could be the maze, but Callum also pointed at the Pandal Haven.
Yeah.
So we're not entirely sure yet.
Some
sorry, not
ambiguity.
the maze, the Thespian stage.
The stage looks like it's the stage.
And yet Callum taps it for mana.
Oh,
controversial,
incredible, isn't it?
Controversial.
Don't need you anymore.
Yeah, don't need you anymore.
Becomes a wasteland.
Gets a wasteland, and presumably activating the ability on the wasteland.
Looks like it.
Certainly, it tells you something when your infect opponent goes
a slightly sort of
Haven.
beleaguered start here. Callum. It hasn't had the smooth draw that you want from this deck.
Yeah. Nick following up with a ponder, trying to see what his deck can produce over the next couple of turns. And there is that infect creature that he needs.
Yes.
To
alongside a Chain of Vapor and Wooded Foothills, looks like.
Yes. So Hydroblast, obviously very good in the crucial turn where you're going off.
Oh, is it Hydroblast? Sorry.
Yes, Hydroblast.
Okay, not Chain of Vapor.
We also...
You're going to start writing this down?
No, I'm not going to write it down, but I'm just going to read out some of the
highlights
from the
Sylvan
Quinn deck.
Sure. We will get... I really want to get a list in the chat after we finish the broadcast. We'll work on that.
So we see main deck Humility.
Humility.
Abundance.
I think this is a snow-covered basics plus Scrying Sheets.
Scrying Sheets.
Scrying Sheets are favourite of Patrick's.
A card that is in this deck.
Yeah.
Elspeth Knight Errant.
Yeah, powerful card.
Powerful win condition.
Often played in Maverick lists.
But the deck definitely works as an Enlightened Tutor utility deck.
Yeah.
Right. So we're trying
just a few highlights
a
from
list
Sylvan
on
Quinn.
that, potentially.
But for now...
But yes, Helm of Obedience and Rest in Peace, certainly
the win condition.
The win condition, the combo.
Which has taken Patrick to a 4-0 finish here tonight.
All right. So let us see.
Another exploration down for Callum.
Another exploration.
With no lands.
And another Wasteland played.
Oh, really?
So like Nick really getting his mana constrained here.
But it looks like he's been drawing enough lands to...
Yeah. Well, we saw a land off the ponder there,
a
Windswept Teeth.
Wooded Foothills, I think.
Wooded Foothills, yes. So, Nick deciding whether he wants to commit to yet another non-basic land, or wants to get a forest.
Yeah.
Here, but he elects to take the tropical island. So currently no infect creature on the board yet, but what is better than leading on an infect creature?
Leading on something that protects that infect creature.
Absolutely.
And this is why Callum was sort of pondering his Crowson Grips earlier, is that a lot of the good sideboard cards that the infect deck brings in, even though it doesn't have a lot of artifacts main, are artifacts and enchantments.
Artifacts, yes. I mean, we've seen Pithing Needle.
Pithing Needle, Spellskite.
Work here.
And these are... Oh, that's a double wasteland.
Yeah, well...
From a loam.
Double exploration and Life on the Loam.
There are no more lands for Nick.
Now, Nick really regretting his decision
was a big turn.
Yeah. Really regretting his decision of not getting that basic forest.
Yeah.
But certainly, he can't have known of the Life from the Loam here. Otherwise, he wouldn't have.
Well, I think it was off the top, wasn't it?
Hmm.
So Callum pretty pleased with that draw, I expect.
Yeah, so a tough one for Nick to get out of this. I mean, you can do it. You can draw. You can draw land.
This is the reason he didn't fetch that forest is because his hand is full of blue cards.
Yeah.
So he can't afford to. He couldn't afford to fetch the forest. And now to get out from under the lock, he needs to find a forest. He needs to start playing green cards. But his hand just doesn't. It's not equipped to do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I believe he still has that Maze of Ith in hand. He hasn't shown it to Nick, and
hasn't needed to.
But also, I mean, Maze of Ith being good, but that Spells Guide. I mean, surely Nick will get in with the Spells Guide as well, redirecting the activation of the Maze of Ith. But yeah, the Maze of Ith coming into play.
Possibly, Callum played 3 lands that turn, which is fine from the exploration. Just a question of whether he played a 4th.
Yeah, but Callum, sometimes he is known for playing explores, so there is that. All right, Nick drawing a surgical extraction here. He would have definitely liked to get those wastelands out from under on the Callum before he was able to get value off them. Now, probably looking more at either one of the win cons,
Yes.
Dark Depths or Thespian Stage, although Thespian Stage obviously being in play. And then just hoping that...
Well, of course, the Needle is still naming stage.
This is true.
So
this is true.
Dark Depths of limited usefulness, although you can always take the counters off. He's probably got time.
Nick really just wanting to hit one...
Yeah.
Putting one creature on the board, double invigorate, and hope that that's in.
So Nick's got a surgical extraction in his hand, which he hasn't cast yet.
Yeah. He's waiting for... so he's stopping Callum in his draw step, where he could get the Life from the Loam if he thinks that is the scariest card
Callum's
at
just
this
stretched.
point. Yes.
But he's just
But in
stretched.
the draw step. So you can still...
Oh, does he have a second loam?
Yeah, so there are 3 loams, I believe, in the graveyard.
So he's going to go for the loam here.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Or the newly milled Punishing Fire, but probably not with the spell sky in play.
Yes. Definitely taking out the engine, as we were saying earlier, a good way of beating the land deck. Once they're just drawing a card a turn, instead of drawing 3 cards a turn.
Drawing 3 cards a turn is pretty powerful.
Yes. Where have we seen that effect before? Potentially in the boon cycle.
But not every turn.
In the very early.
Unless, of course, you play Isochron Scepter.
Yes. That is a good, powerful interaction.
You might even be playing against some Isochron Scepters this weekend.
Potentially.
But
yes, enough with the in-jokes. Nick playing the surgical extraction.
Seems to be some decision-making process. He's going for the fire
punishing
instead of the loam. That was the decision.
But running into the crop rotation
for Grove
to
save the fire.
To save the punishing fires. Oh, that's a very strong play from Callum here.
Well played.
Callum, of course, secretly hoping that Nick was playing, was targeting
perhaps a little bit of manipulation going on at the table.
You never know. Nick thinking, oh, what happened? I thought I surgicaled that punishing fire. But yeah, now Callum
that's really brutal, actually.
Oh, yes.
Because now he gets to keep loaming.
He gets to keep loaming, drawing more cards off the thicket, putting more Maze of This into play.
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
it's difficult to see how Nick can come back.
Yes.
That eventually, looks like a choke.
And not very good here.
Is it?
But
what is it?
I believe it is a choke.
It is a choke.
Yes. Although, yet again, maybe not...
if
not
only
the
it was
thing to shout
hideously shiny, then we'd be able to know at a glance. And just choking for good measure.
Choking for good measure. There's a force of will which I believe Nick would have liked to have seen on
the turn before.
On Callum's draw step in his hand already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Callum just loaming away, trying to find an answer to Thespian Stage, but
to the
needle.
I mean, once he's got enough Groves and punishing fires, just fire them out.
Nick out.
And he's got a ring now, so he can just ring every turn if he wants to as well. Yeah, I mean, this Lands deck wants to get going like this.
And
this is
this is where we were in the first game as well.
Yeah.
Nick. Oh, and there's the
there's the tabernacle.
The tabernacle.
Can't pay for this.
Quite good when you have no lands to play.
That's just good deck building there.
Yes, absolutely. And here Nick just very quickly running out of options as he stares at 8 cards in his hands.
He's drawn a land.
He has.
He can fetch a forest. He can play a Glistener Elf.
Yes.
He can then pay for that Glistener Elf with the forest.
Yeah, and getting it punishing fire.
Yeah.
So certainly not at an easy point when you have one permanent in play, which is a Pithing Needle, and your opponent has roughly 14 permanents in play. But again, Nick not known for his early concessions.
No.
He he is definitely a player who likes to consider all his options, all his possible lines before doing any rash.
Before conceding.
Rash decisions there in the concession department.
Yeah.
But yeah, Callum
So
doing the wise play of end of turn, porting,
forcing him
the
to fetch
land, and yeah, Nick basically required to fetch a basic land here.
Basically required to fetch a basic.
Basically required to fetch a basic.
Yeah. Which can be ported in his upkeep.
Yes.
So, of limited worth.
Of limited worth.
There's that chalice being milled.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to finish my thought from early on, this is where we were
in the first game.
In the first game, where Callum is just doing what Lance does. He's drawing cards, he's dredging loam, he's punishing firing his opponent, he's removing all his creatures, and slowly but surely winning the game. As we see the Barbarian Ring here, being put into the graveyard,
or perhaps not,
or perhaps not, as he elects to do.
He's found
probably playing around and yet another surgical.
Surgical, yeah.
But you can't really play around surgical there. It's,
no.
This is a good play. If
yeah,
punishing fire wasn't a card.
That double wasteland turn really was.
Yeah. That was
the real
that was
the
decider of the game. Yeah. Absolutely.
And from there on, it's just a kind of boa constrictor type play that Lance is famous for, where you slowly choke the life from your opponent. Yeah. Sometimes literally, if they're a blue opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Callum still. Oh no, excuse me. He does have the choke and play now.
Yes.
So,
just for good measure.
If that forest was an island, it wouldn't untap. All right, more Mox diamonds being put on the stack.
More foils.
More foils. Callum can't be too pleased about the situation there, as he taps his opponent's mana. But let's see how long Nick can.
I mean, really, we're just all complicit in watching a man being tortured.
This is true. Not entirely sure if we should.
We should continue broadcasting. I think it's against regulations.
Yeah. Maybe we have to consult the court of
The Hague.
The Hague.
The European Court of Human Rights.
Exactly that one. You know, if I could talk, I would have said those words. But yes.
Well, luckily we'll be free of that influence soon. But I'm pretty sure it's a Geneva Convention as well.
Geneva Convention. Yeah. Well, there's no war involved here, so I don't think we have to quite invoke the Geneva Convention. As Callum just likes to
the war is over.
Turn over cards at this point. Gambling.
I think he's enjoying himself.
Yeah.
He's counting his cards in his library.
And he's getting a sphere of resistance just to be absolutely sure that
I think that was just for us.
Happening.
I think that was just for us. And gamble, probably its traditional mode, which is search your library for a card, then discard it. No,
but
discarded the fire.
Callum actually gets a lot of value here.
Yeah, pretty good odds there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and he's got the Ghost Squatter now.
He's got a Dark Depth in play as well.
Yep. So
he can start taking counters off that.
Did you see what card he got off the?
He got a Molten Vortex.
Molten Vortex.
Just in case he needed any more win cons.
Yeah. But just to speed it up a tiny bit, because things could go wrong. There could be a well-timed surgical extraction of Nick's.
Maybe he should have got that sphere of resistance. That
Dark Depth's definitely now ticking down. 2 counters a turn. This glacier is about to melt.
And Marit Lage will crawl out.
Will crawl out. Yes.
And reveal that it was her that was behind shadows over Innistrad all along.
Is it a her or is it an it?
It is a her, I believe, Marit Lage.
All right.
I believe it's a sort of goddess
Good
type thing.
Good. Someone who read the the flavor.
Perhaps chat will know. Answers on a postcard.
Ooh, now going to 4 counters a turn, which means
That's impressive.
next turn.
That's
next
impressive.
turn.
And there it is.
Does Callum really want to play that? Ooh, but the crucial force of will from Nick here. Ooh, but there's the land.
There's the land.
He can actually do something this turn. He could potentially berserk that 2020 if he chooses to do so.
Yes, which will destroy it.
No. Not before.
No.
No, I mean it's indestructible.
And it wouldn't destroy
Jamie,
it because
this
it's
is silly.
indestructible.
This is getting very silly.
Do you think when Callum makes his Marit Lage, he'll pay for the tabernacle?
We'll see about that. This is. I
think that would be good memes.
That would be
if
a
he paid
good
for the
point.
tabernacle.
Or if he didn't.
Well, I mean,
so we'll see now.
yeah.
So Callum decided whether or not he wants to.
No, he's just gonna draw.
He did pay. And there we go.
That'll be it.
That will be it
for the game, the match, and the tournament.
And the tournament. Yes. So
yeah, congratulations to Patrick for going 4-0 tonight.
4-0, yes, with his Sylvan Quinn deck.
Congratulations to Callum for winning our last on-camera match.
Yes.
Which was exciting at some points and less exciting at others.
It was exciting before the game was over.
Yes.
At around
and then the game carried on.
And then carried on for another 12 turns. But
but yeah, I think that'll be it from us tonight. And like I say, we will try and put a link to a deck list for Patrick's deck in the chat.
Yeah. So definitely, if you're interested for more of this, next week around the same time, we're probably going to be back. Probably a different duo.
Yes.
We're trying to switch it up every week. But yeah, this is all from us.
So yeah, more Legacy next week, 7 p.m. Dark Sphere, Tuesday night.
See you there.